Hello, thank you for joining us for another episode of Canada's Movie and TV Hosers. I'm one of the hosts, Gregory Barrett, and with me is my co-host, Christine.
Hi.
And Christine, who's the star of our show?
Sleepy Fluffy.
Fluffy Kitty here. She's settled down. She's being really good today. Excellent. So this is a show that's not about cats. It's all about things we love in pop culture, new and old, movies, trailers, books, TV, streaming shows, different types of things we love to talk about in pop culture. Breaking down today's episode, we're going to talk a little bit about news briefly. We got 3 teasers/trailers we're going to talk about. We got one for a new upcoming show, Gen V, Season 2 of Invincible, Season 3 of Only Murders in the Building that you're looking forward to. Going along with that Invincible teaser that we got an Adam Eve special that they dropped, 1 episode. That's on Prime. We're going to talk about the new movie this weekend, Haunted Mansion. Then we're going to talk about first episode we got for season 11 of Futurama. So that's big news. They brought back Futurama again. It's been canceled so many times.
They made some jokes about that.
Oh yeah. Well, they've been joking about that for years because the show's been canceled so many times.
In the episode itself, that's what it was about.
We'll get to that. We're going to talk about Oppenheimer, which we didn't get to talk about in our last episode. We're going to talk about Star Trek Strange New Worlds. So, got a few episodes to talk about there. We got the finale for Secret Invasion, which, that one was kind of rough. We're going to go back into the DCEU, and we're talking The Flash, part 14. We're going to talk about Jackie Brown for part 3 of our Tarantino Unchained. That's part 3. And then we're going to do some Chakotay's Odyssey, talking about Star Trek Voyager. And then I think we only have like 1 comment right now. Okay. So, going right into it there. First off, I want to just mention briefly that we still got strikes going on in the entertainment industry. Because we don't really cover news in this show, but sometimes we talk about big things, and so there's been the Writers Guild of America, the WGA, has been on strike since I think May 2nd. If I'm wrong, correct me down in the comments if it was started on a different day, but I believe it was early May, and now for the past couple of weeks, the Screen Actors Guild, SAG-AFTRA, has been on strike as well. And they have been... Well, you'd think that they'd be in talks with the AMPTP because that's who they negotiate with. That is the Alliance of Motion Picture and Television Producers.
I don't know.
Well, they're not actually talking to them because that alliance of all those producers are not talking to either guild.
Well, that's what happens when you go on strike.
No, but you would think that the producers would want to get everyone back to work, right? So they don't have disruptions in the entertainment industry.
There's always a game being played,
well,
that kind of stuff.
A few weeks back, before the actors went on strike, one executive I came out, I think it was talking to Deadline, saying that their strategy for dealing with the writers was to essentially starve them out.
Well, what you've got to realize is that America, the US of A, is not into these kind of labor things like our country is.
Oh yeah, they're all about union busting.
Has a lot more of a labor history. Actually, where I'm from, we have a big labor history. Mm-hmm. We actually celebrate Davis Day from a guy in Davis who was shot in trying to get workers' rights. And in the United States, they're not as into that.
Oh yeah, they're all about union busting. I mean, Walmart, Amazon, they're all about union busting.
There's not as much public
so
also favor for that. So we'll see how it goes.
Let's focus on this because they came out and it said in an article in Deadline that I read that their plan was to wait until Christmas or the New Year so that the writers, like people start losing their, they've already not working, right? So they're not making income, and so that they start losing their houses.
They probably will.
And they called it, the quote in the article was that it was a cruel but necessary evil.
Well, see,
and that is terrible.
Because this is the attitude. It's business over humans.
Yeah.
That's the problem.
I don't agree with that. So this is
We come from a different background. We come from a different country. But it is affecting the film industry here in Canada for sure. I'm hearing like everything's shut down.
Yeah, because a lot of it comes out of the U.S. and they film here.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't agree with this strategy. Now, I know in business you got to make hard decisions to run a business. If your business is looking like you might have to lay off a bunch of people because otherwise you're going to go bankrupt, that's a hard decision that you have to make, but you have to make it in business.
Yeah, but these people aren't going bankrupt. They just need more money.
Just because the producers and all the studios who are not hard up for money at all, just because they're in a position that they can just sit around and wait for months on end, but they want people to start losing their houses, that's a terrible strategy.
They're the ones with the money, and they've got it, and they can hold out.
So here's the thing. A lot of those writers and a lot of working actors, they already have to have second, third jobs. So I hope that this completely backfires on the AMPTP myself, because these people, like, the longer this strike goes on, the more stuff that comes out. We're getting stuff like recently Bob Iger, who is the current and interim CEO of Disney, he came back. He said some really bad things in the media about this was a terrible time for this. Of course it's a terrible time for a strike. That's why a strike is planned for right now.
Streaming wars are on.
And David Zaslav said some terrible things a couple months ago in regards to the writer's strike.
You gotta understand, they're coming from a different viewpoint than us.
But get this.
They're not as in favor of this kind of
David Zaslav, who's the current head of Warner Brothers Discovery, came out that he makes, like, his pay package is like $39 million.
Whoa.
And Bob Iger's is $32 million. And these aren't creative people. They're not making any of this stuff. They're just running the business.
No.
And their plan is to starve these people out? The people who actually make your creative content?
Well, it'll work.
That's
what their plan is. It will work because they have the money and these other people do not. And if they do it, that's their plan. That's the plan. That will work, and they'll lose everybody, and they'll have to bring in all new people, and we'll get some bad content for a few years.
Well, we're getting bad content now.
I don't know.
And
I just, like, there's not sympathy for it.
I'm sympathetic to them.
We're coming from a different background.
And also,
right?
When you think about that, the producers, the studios need the theaters. And this is the worst time for the theaters. They're still recovering from the pandemic. What happens when the theaters start going under and start closing? They're going to lose places to screen their product. That's less money for them. It's a terrible strategy, and I hope it doesn't work for the AMPTP, because you can't treat people like that.
This is one more thing put into the streaming wars and the conflict that's going on in the industry on a whole, right? There's a big conflict.
There's a lot of problems in that industry.
Well, and our theater is probably the worst in Canada, so we see it on our end because they don't put any money into it because they got a monopoly. The closest theater around, I think, is like 7 hours away.
Yeah, and I don't know how good that is.
Or 8 hours away, I don't know. How far is Corner Brook? Anyway.
These strikes are still ongoing. So if you're wondering why all late night television shows have been canceled, late night talk shows, okay, they've been canceled since beginning of May when the writers went on strike.
Yeah.
Which doesn't affect most people, but I like to watch things like The Late Show with Stephen Colbert, Last Week Tonight with John Oliver, and sometimes I watch Real Time with Bill Maher. Sometimes, but lately I've been kind of getting out of that. Anyway, all those kind of shows they've been stopped since the writers went on strike. And now all promotion is stopped with the actors because they're not allowed to do that.
Yeah. And
so now studios are looking at pushing back projects to next year just because they can't promote it with the actors.
You know, the industry, I remember when we had the hockey strike a few years ago, they pivoted to curling, and we saw curling 24/7.
The last
so
time,
who knows what they'll pivot to.
The last time there was a writer's strike was in 2007, and we got the effects of that a couple of years ago. We got some really bad content, some bad movies. Remember Quantum of Solace? Oh, it was garbage. Writer's strike.
Well, James Bond
and
can be good, can be bad.
And there was a lot of stuff that came out that was bad as a result of that. And
I don't know.
This is a bad situation, and this is the longer it goes on for it, the more stuff. There's so much coming out that makes these studios and these executives look terrible. And I hope it doesn't work out for them because
they still have their big paycheck.
they're greedy. So that's
what
my
it
thoughts.
is about the almighty dollar, right? That's what it's all about.
Yeah.
Anyway.
But they're not paying people livable wages.
People that are rich
so...
want to be richer, and they don't care what they have to do to get it. And that's the issue.
Yes, I understand that.
That's just the way
the point is, the longer this goes on for, the more so much has come out, and it's making these studios and executives look terrible, and I hope it gets worse for them. That's my thoughts on these strikes right now. Christine's kind of doesn't...
We have nothing to do with it. I don't know when that's on strike. I'm not in that country.
But we're not in Hollywood. We're not even in the U.S.
It's the way she goes. It's the way she goes. We just get whatever comes our way.
I'm hoping for the best for the workers. That's my thoughts on it. If you have some thoughts on it, leave them in the comments below. We'd love to hear from you.
Maybe all we'll get to stream is curling for 3 months, like the hockey strike.
Okay, let's move into our trailers now. So the first one we got was for Gen V. We watched the Red Band trailer for Gen V, which is coming out in September, and this is a spin-off of The Boys.
Yeah,
so
I did
Amazon
not like
Studios.
this show at all.
You didn't like the trailer?
Well, I don't like the show. I did not like it at all when I watched a little bit of season 1. It's not my jam at all. I did not care for it.
Of The Boys?
No, Gen V.
It hasn't come out yet. We just watched the teaser.
Oh, no, sorry. I'm thinking you're thinking of the cartoon one. What's that one called?
Okay, we're talking about Gen V. So what did you think about the Gen V Red Band trailer?
Well, I thought this looks garbage, to tell you the truth.
Okay.
That's what I thought. I don't see any big personalities in it. I mean, the boys, that's what they're all about, is the acting, the personalities that are involved. I think this is like, we need to get millennials involved. We need to get young people to watch a show. They're not going to watch a bunch of old guys, and let's give them some young people. I don't know. It didn't look very good to me.
No?
No, yeah.
I mean,
you don't have Homelander in it.
No, so the beginning of it was some old footage, but later on, when they're showing all new footage, we do see a couple of characters from The Boys. They're probably just for cameo appearance. We see Ashley. She's the new manager there. And we also see A-Train there. He's in a suit at one point. Do we see anyone else from the... No, I don't think we'll actually see any of The Boys, you know, Butcher and their team, but we might see some of the Seven and the other people. However, this looks exactly like it's in the same vein as The Boys. It's hyper-violent, it's grotesque, there's probably going to be nudity and sex in it because it's a university, and it's all about, this is a university for these superheroes, and there's some bad stuff going on here, which they even say in the trailer.
Yeah.
And I'm hoping this is just as good as The Boys. I'm looking forward to it. Can't wait to watch it. But you're not interested in this.
It doesn't have... The only good thing about The Boys, the thing that is about the personalities of the characters. This looks like Twilight, The Boys version. I'm sorry. It just looks garbage.
You need to be sorry if it doesn't appeal to you.
Let's just get a bunch of young people and turn them into The Boys because we need a young people show. I don't know. It just didn't look good. I didn't watch The Boys for violence and stuff like that. I watch it for the personalities and the characters.
Yeah. Well, maybe we'll get some good characters in this. I don't know. So Christine's not looking forward to it. I thought it looked great, and I'm totally on board for it. The only complaint I would have about it is the main character, I don't know her name yet, but her ability seems to be controlling blood. And so she cuts her hand, the blood effect doesn't look very good to me. But
gross.
Maybe it's unfinished. Who knows?
I don't know. It didn't look good to me.
Can't wait till September 29th to see this on Prime. We know The Boys is already delayed, so hopefully this doesn't get delayed too.
It probably will.
But let us know what your thoughts are for Gen V. Check out the Red Band trailer if you get a chance. Don't show the kids this. But let us know down in the comments below. We want to hear from you. Next, we got a Season 2 teaser for Invincible.
That's
Season
the one
2.
I thought you were talking about.
So,
yeah, no thank you.
You didn't watch Invincible Season 1. I think you started it and you didn't like it.
I was like, this is not for me.
Okay, so this is not for Christine. No. I saw this. I'm looking forward to it because I watched the first season. Had a good time. I think maybe I'll go back and watch it again before this comes out, which is coming out not till November 3rd. So we got some time on this.
Then.
So we got time. Looking forward to it. I mean, it's just more of the same. You got J.K. Simmons back as Omni-Man. He's the villain.
I mean,
Okay,
J.K.
it's the
Simmons
evil
is great, but it...
J.K. Simmons is great in
He
everything.
is great.
And you
Doesn't make
got
the show good.
tons of characters. Seth Rogen is in it. Who else was in it that they said there?
Oh my gosh. Rhea Seehorn. So many
From Better
people.
Call Saul?
Yes, I saw her name.
Damn.
There were so many names. Mark Hamill, I think you saw. I
Yeah,
didn't see
Mark
his name
Hamill
because there
was
was
there.
like 300 names put up there. All kinds of names. Tons of them. Anyway, I don't know, because there's a lot of characters,
First season came out in 2021, so that was a while ago. But let's see
It
what
seems like 10 years ago because it was in the middle of the pandemic.
Okay, here we go. So Stephen Young's back as the Invincible guy, Mark Grayson. J.K. Simmons back. Sandra Oh is back as the mom. Seth Rogen, Mark Hamill, Walt Goggins. Yeah. He's great.
And that funny
Zazie Beetz.
Also that funny guy, Jason
Michael Dorn. Worf is in this.
What was Everybody's in it.
Jeez.
There's
Zachary
so
Quinto.
different...
This might have been the first season.
Oh, Zachary Quinto, yeah.
Clancy Brown, who we saw in the teaser for Gen V. Man, so many people in this.
Yeah.
Corey Payton.
Well, I think they're just maybe a lot of them are guest roles, like just one character.
You know who Corey Payton is, right?
No.
That's Cyborg on Teen Titans Go.
Oh, he does the voice.
Yeah, and other Teen Titans shows.
Great. I wish he was in
He's been
movies.
Cyborg forever.
I wish he was in the movies as Cyborg.
Also, he was in The Walking Dead.
I didn't.
But I didn't watch that show. So yeah, I don't know. Essentially, if you enjoyed Invincible season 1, hopefully you're looking forward to season 2. I know I am. It comes out. When does it come out?
Oh yeah, Sandra Oh is in it.
Yeah, well, she was in the first season. Yeah. When is this coming out? Comes out Invincible season 2 on November 3rd. So we got time.
So put in your calendar, start watching it in September. Because if you watch it now, you're going to forget again.
No, I'll watch it end of October then. Before it comes out.
Forget.
Anyone else looking forward to Invincible season 2? I can't wait for it. Let us know your thoughts down in the comments below, whether it be good or bad. We want to hear from you.
Fluffy looks real excited.
She just wants to sleep. So now one that you're interested in, Only Murders in the Building, season 3.
Yes.
Now before you talk about this, I dropped off after season 2. I'm not continuing to watch it, so I'm not interested. But tell us what you thought of this trailer.
Oh, I'm looking forward to it. It has so we have some new characters in it, and is this time the murder is not in the building.
That's in theater, but we
this
got
time,
Paul Rudd and Meryl Streep seem to be the two big stars.
They always have like a couple of stars each season that are like come on the show. Anyway, it looks great. I love it. I can't wait for it. I don't think Nathan Lane might be in this one. I forget what happened to him in the end.
Do you think they'll bring back Amy Schumer?
No, because she was the guest.
Sting?
No, he was the guest in season 1. She was the guest in season 2. That's kind of how they're doing it, because everyone lives in this building. But this time we're dealing with actors on the stage, so they have a bigger cast, it seems.
They got a lot of...
they're in the production.
They brought back a lot of the angry, cranky neighbors in their building, so they're in this.
You always have to have that.
Thriller.
Anyway.
I don't relate to this show. Seems to be a bunch of rich people living in New York. They don't work.
They're all actors. Steve Martin, he was that character. He was a cop in a show.
Yeah, they're
he's retired.
But she doesn't work?
No, because she had to live in that apartment because her aunt left it to her because she was kind of like lost, and she lives there because that's why her apartment was like all in rough shape.
How does she make money? She's got to pay condo fees.
No,
property tax.
I think her aunt pays for it.
Her aunt who died.
I don't know if her aunt died or not, but it's her aunt's unit, and it was a wreck.
What's the actress's name?
Selena Gomez.
Selena Gomez, there, okay.
She's more of a singer than an actress.
Okay, so you're excited for this?
Steve Martin, I'm there.
Just because it's Steve Martin?
Seriously, I mean, it's great, but if Steve Martin's in it, I'm there.
Okay. I'm not a big Steve Martin fan. And this show, the first season was fun. The second season kind of just, this is more the same, so what are we doing?
You don't
and that's why I dropped off.
You don't like the humor in it. You don't really get it.
It's
humor.
it's not my kind of humor as much. It's more Steve Martin humor, and that's probably why I'm not a big fan of him. But you're a big fan of Steve Martin.
And Steve Martin are pretty funny together.
Oh, they're hilarious. They're comedy legends, right?
Yeah, so I think it's great. Well, anyway, I'm looking forward to it. I don't know when it's coming out though.
Do you think they'll convince Chevy Chase to make an appearance in the show?
No.
Because that's their third guy. That's the third amigo.
No, I think it's whoever's based in New York. That's how they're doing it. So it's people that are based out of New York.
I think they could bring Chevy Chase back. I mean, he doesn't really do much anymore. Yeah, I think if anyone could convince him, it would be Martin Short and Steve Martin. Anyway,
I don't think that's what it's about. It's about New York City, and basically that's what it's about. And that's why we're getting the people that are in it are all based in New York. Okay. That's why we're getting that. Anyway, you're not going to watch it. I'm going to watch it. I can't wait. So I'm excited for it.
Okay. Anyone else excited to see Only Murders in the Building Season 3, which is coming on Hulu? Here in Canada, we get it on Disney Plus because we don't have Hulu here. Because it's owned by 20th Century Studios, which is owned by Disney. Let us know if you're excited about this. What'd you think of the previous seasons? Good, not good? I don't know. Each to their own, right?
I really enjoy it.
Moving on to our reviews, we briefly talked about the Invincible Season 2 trailer that we got. So with it, they also dropped a 1-episode special for Adam Eve, which is one of the characters. You saw her in that teaser there. She was the lady in pink there. Younger superhero. Essentially, this is an origin story for her.
Okay.
I'm not going to spoil it. I had a fun time watching this. I think it was about an hour. And yeah, it's an origin story for that character. And it explains more about where she came from and her parents and all this stuff. And I quite enjoyed it there. Are we going to get more of this? I don't know. But it definitely by watching it, it got me more excited to see Invincible. Because it's been a couple of years since the first season came out, back in 2021. Mm-hmm. So watching this, we didn't see the other... No, we did see the main guy, the main Invincible guy, Mark Graydon, I think is his name. We saw him when he was younger as a kid, and also she's younger. So it was kind of like, meanwhile, here's what Mark Graydon's up to. He duct tapes himself, and that's not good, because then you gotta take the duct tape off, and it hurts. Yeah, don't do that. But he's a kid, right?
I've never duct taped myself, but I could imagine it would.
I'm guessing he was maybe a 12-year-old kid at the time, maybe a bit younger. Mm-hmm. Anyway, it was fun, and we even got an appearance of Omni-Man. Okay, who's his dad?
Oh, okay.
Omni-Man's his dad. He's the villain. If you know anything about Invincible.
No, I didn't like it. It's just not my thing.
If you enjoyed the first season, go check out this special of Adam Eve, and then I'm going to rewatch season 2 when I get a chance, getting ready for the new season coming out in November. I just wanted to briefly mention that. Now let's go into our big review, I guess, for this week. We saw Haunted Mansion, put out by Disney. So, this wasn't that busy, let's say.
No?
No, not at all.
I think the only people that came to the movie is because the Barbie movie was sold out, so they came to the movie.
I believe that all the Barbie screenings are still sold out.
Tell because the way they were dressed.
And they've been setting records.
Yeah, so it was packed, and our theater could not handle it.
So, Haunted Mansion. Yeah, there were people that came in and out, and like some people like left, before the end of the movie, and clearly they got bad security there. People just kind of wander in without paying there.
Yeah, I think so.
They might want to look into that. But anyway, Haunted Mansion currently has a 41 Rotten Critic rating and an 83% audience score. So
that's generous.
Only about 40% of critics are saying good things about this, and the rest are not. So it's just over 2 hours. It's supposed to be a kids movie. What did you think about this movie there?
Disney wouldn't know a ghost story if they fell over it.
Mm-hmm.
It's kind of what I thought it was going to be. You were all excited for it, and I was hopeful, but I really thought it basically met my expectations. The only funny things were in the trailer. It's not funny enough. It only basically outlines the life of one character, not the others, really. Totally neglects, like, Rosario Dawson. She's, like, given nothing.
Yeah, she's just the mom.
I mean, it's stupid, the premise in the the first place.
The haunted house?
It's a humongous house. She would never be able to have a bed and breakfast in that home.
Mm-hmm.
There's only one of her.
Mm-hmm.
What's she gonna do? Anyway, it's not scary. It's a convoluted, stupid story.
Mm-hmm.
It's just messy. Ugh.
You're really negative. You know, people work really hard on this movie.
Well, they should have rewritten it before they decided to make it.
Okay.
It's not scary. It's just stupid. If you ask me.
You
And
said
the
that a few
demon ghost. Like, if you're telling a ghost story, it's not a monster movie. It's a ghost story. But instead, it turned into some kind of monster movie, and it was just ugh. Anyway, that's all I'm gonna say. It was yuck.
Okay, that's all you're gonna say.
It doesn't have an audience. It's not for kids. It's not for adults. It's definitely not for teenagers. They would absolutely hate it. The kid in it dresses really weird. Of course, when you're 9 years old, your mother dresses you, and she dresses him like he's from like the 50s or something. I mean, it's just. Ugh.
Okay.
That's all. That's my.
That's your final thoughts?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, this movie in the U.S. is rated PG-13. I think it's only rated PG here. So, interesting.
There's a lot of drinking in
this movie is essentially, it's a cartoon. It's a live-action cartoon. Now, star-studded cast, but a lot of them aren't given much to work with. I mean, Rosario Dawson's in it. She's not given anything to do. But she's still trying hard. She's doing what she can. The kid in it, he's doing some good acting. I enjoyed Lakeith Stanfield in it.
He's the only
always
one that
good.
has a story.
Danny DeVito. It's always great to see Danny DeVito.
He's the only one that's funny.
At one point, Danny DeVito, I think, gets lifted up and manhandled by Lakeith Stanfield, which I thought that was funny. Probably the best person in this for me was Tiffany Haddish, because she's always really funny, and she usually brings her A game to everything she's in. And she was probably the funniest character for me, because she's the psychic. Also, we're not spoiling this right now.
She was very funny. I thought Danny DeVito was the only one that was funny.
Owen Wilson was in it, but he wasn't funny at all. Not for me.
So weird.
Yeah, he's just kind of weird, I guess.
They didn't give him very much either to work with.
They didn't give Jamie Lee Curtis very much to work with at all. But here's the thing. It's a Disney movie, so they got access to unlimited talent. So they bring in all these actors, and they're like, hey, we're going to make this kids movie. And I thought this was going to be a fun, wacky, and hopefully hilarious story. It wasn't that funny. It did have some laugh out loud moments, a couple.
I didn't laugh out loud. Did I? I don't think so.
There was a couple of funny moments in it.
Only Danny DeVito is funny, but...
And I don't know. I'm disappointed by this. This has been a disappointing year for movies for me. Because a lot of the things that I've seen have just been disappointing me. And if you're going to make a fun kids movie like this, one, make it for kids.
It wasn't for kids.
Don't make it for teenagers or adults. It's all over the place, as you were alluding to. And it's showing in the critic response. And I don't think it's projected to make very much money. Now, I'm not just going to crap on this. It had some fun moments in it. Unfortunately, probably the best moment, a lot of the good moments were in the trailer. So if you saw the trailer, a lot of that spoiled. There was other stuff, but it just kind of fell flat and fell short for me. So What kind of rating would you give this?
Oh, and they had Mary Lou Henner in the beginning. She gets nothing to do. She's just some random off the street. They didn't use her. Winona Ryder, they didn't use her. Dan Levy, they didn't use him. Ugh. I give it, 45.
45%.
It was bad.
I did have some fun, but there was boring moments in it, and it was too long. It was definitely at least half hour too long. Should have been shorter. So I give it a worst movie ever on the internet rating system. Just, if you're going to see a kids movie right now, I mean, if it's teenagers, you'll have a better time taking them to see Barbie. And if you're looking for a straight up kids movie, what would be a good kids movie to take them to right now?
Maybe Elemental. I haven't seen it. I don't know.
Elemental is good, but no one's going to see it.
The Little Mermaid.
Little Mermaid's good. Yeah.
But this is not for kids. And it shows a woman accepting a drink from a stranger, and she's actually going to drink it? What the heck? And there's a lot of drinking in the beginning of the film.
This was kind of a missed opportunity for Disney, and it's a shame because I was hoping this would be really fun. Oh well. Did anyone else see Disney's The Haunted Mansion that came out? I'm guessing, anyway, by these ratings, it ain't that great. The people who are going to see it are saying it's okay. Maybe kids are enjoying this. I feel this movie is made more for kids.
But it's
However,
not.
it did have some concepts in it that you question. Oh, well. Let us know what you think of Haunted Mansion if you saw it, and maybe you didn't see it and you thought... Let us know what you thought of the trailer.
They should have watched The Haunting at Hill House before they made this movie to understand how ghost story is really told.
I don't think this was supposed to be scary because it was supposed to be for kids.
It wasn't anything.
Yeah, it's kind of a, like I said, missed opportunity. Oh well. Moving on. We got new Futurama. After years, we've got more Futurama again. So they brought it back for either the third or fourth time. And now it's season 11, episode 1. And we watched it when it came out on Monday.
Yeah.
What'd you think of it?
Well, it was typical Futurama. It was making fun of coming back.
Yep, they've done that
years.
many times.
And it was just typical. I didn't think it was any different. It was very similar to all the other episodes. I mean, it was fun.
Mm-hmm.
It had Calculon in it. Everybody
yeah, it had the whole cast of... Yeah, we can spoil this because we gotta have stuff to talk about. It had the whole cast of All My Circuits, which is a classic thing from, I think, maybe the second or third episode of Futurama. Based on this season currently has an 88% certified fresh rating and a 91% audience score, although there's not many reviews, and we've only had one episode.
It seems very Futurama. I didn't see a difference in it to the other seasons.
To me, it was more of the same. They were making fun of streaming and binging, which I'm all for making fun of that stuff. I'm not really a big binger.
I do. I can.
I don't have the time. And I don't want to sit around for hours on end.
I don't sit around for hours, but if I have a show, I'll start it from the beginning and I'll keep on watching it. I don't switch around. I stick with the show.
Binging means like sitting there for hours, like all day watching one show.
No.
That's what.
Do that.
And they're making fun of that because Fry is sitting there and he's completely immobile.
He's got like a suit hooked up for fluids and fluids the other way.
which made me think of Ready Player One, the book, not the movie there. And to me, this was more of the same. We get to see all the characters back.
Yeah.
The whole cast is back. We even get to see Scruffy, the janitor.
Yeah, he's in it a bit.
He's back. Phil Lamar is back for a funny pot joke with Hermes. I mean, Phil Lamar is amazing in everything, right? He's always giving it his all. Katie Seagal as Leela, she's a rock star, okay? I mean, everything she's been in is great. I mostly know her from as Leela, but also as Peggy Bundy. That's her iconic role as
been in a lot of
Peggy
things.
Bundy from Married with Children, which if you haven't seen Married with Children, go check it out. It's hilarious. Still holds up today.
Yeah, it was good. I'm looking forward to watching more.
We're gonna do more spoilers as we get into it because we're gonna review this each week. And man, I can't wait. I'm loving it. I still got all my DVDs and Blu-ray discs for all the other seasons, including the seasons that they made of direct-to-DVD movies, which became seasons, and I got all of them. And it's great. So I'm on board. What do you think of Futurama? Some people don't like it, so they're not checking it out.
I like it.
They keep bringing back this show. This show for me was always like one of my favorite shows. So even the episodes that other people didn't really like, I loved them. But that's just me.
I like it, but I don't love it. It's not one of my top 10 shows of all time, but I still really like it.
You know what? It probably is one of my top 10 shows of all time. I'll have to think about that sometime. So let us know what you think about the return of Futurama again for season 11. Let us know down in the comments below what you think of it. You can always give us a thumbs up on this, or thank you to anyone who gives us a thumbs up and subscribes to our channel for more content. For our next review, we're going to jump into talking about Oppenheimer that just came out from Universal. And it's Christopher Nolan's new movie. Just came out this weekend. This is, we're going to do spoiler-free. We're not going to spoil it, although it's history, so...
Well...
I mean, you know what happens if you know history. He invents the atomic bomb. Was it crew? So, it currently has a 94% certified fresh rating on Rotten Tomatoes and a 94% audience score. So, people love it. Now, it's 3 hours long. It's rated R. Kids aren't going to see this. I did see a couple, like, may have been 12 or 13-year-olds at our screening yesterday. I was surprised by that because just it's kind of a bit complicated at times because Christopher Nolan's films are really complicated.
Yeah.
Especially what's going on with the politics.
Wish they hadn't put the nudity in there because then kids could watch it.
I would think in this wouldn't be for you, but what did you think of this movie? All 3 hours of it.
I was thinking it wouldn't be for you. We got 5 minutes into it. I'm just thinking this is not something Gregory's gonna like.
It wasn't. It was okay, but
it's not your kind of film. I really liked it. I went with it. I enjoyed it. I don't know Oppenheimer, so I'm not sure how true to character it was. I'm sure it was true to historical events. But it basically shows that it wasn't just Oppenheimer that did this. It was the general and him and the team.
Oh, yeah. It was definitely a big team, the Manhattan Project.
And explains why he got sort of disgraced with the Strauss part in it. Has that in it. I don't know. I thought it was very interesting.
There was a lot of politics in this. This movie, for me, was definitely an hour too long. And all the stuff with the Senator Strauss and that, and his cabinet appointment hearing, which is a historical event, all that stuff, didn't need it. I mean, we do get to see a whole bunch of people in it that, I was surprised that, it's on the call sheet, so I'm just gonna...
He could have just, did...
Because we knew Robert Downey Jr. was in it.
Of the bomb, but I think... in order to explain his political affiliations and such, to really explain him, I think that's why he did it that way.
Okay. Florence Pugh's character, I thought that would really upset you because she's just in there for nude scenes pretty much. And there's only 4 female characters in this movie. There's Florence Pugh's character, which I didn't think you would like because she doesn't exactly make women look very good. Then there's Emily Blunt's character, who plays his wife. We've seen these in the trailer. She's kind of a bad mom because she doesn't want to be a mom.
She's a smart ass, though.
Yeah, she's ultimately a rich kid, and she doesn't like being a mom. There's a female scientist that we see at one point, who has a couple of lines, and then there's one of the government's bigwigs, I think it's probably another senator's wife that we see a couple of times. That's it. Other than that, this movie's a sausage fest. And there's a lot of people in this.
It would have... I didn't mind that because this was a sausage fest time.
Okay, but let me tell you. You got Cillian Murphy in it. Plays Oppenheimer, of course.
Fantastic.
You got Matt Damon, who's all over the trailers, playing General Rhodes.
He's also fantastic.
You got Robert Downey Jr. in it.
Yeah.
I could have done without his character.
I don't like him, but he did a great job.
Kenneth Branagh makes an appearance.
Tiny bit.
Okay, yeah, a little bit.
He just had fun, I think.
Okay. Josh Hartnett was in it quite a bit. The whole time I'm looking, I'm like, is that Josh Hartnett? No, it can't be.
Who's the sweaty guy?
I don't know what sweaty guy you're talking.
Benny Saldi? Who's the sweaty guy?
That's not. I'm talking about big names that appear in this.
Well, he's not a big name, but he was the main character.
Rami Malek.
He wasn't in it very much.
No, Mr. Robot makes an appearance.
He wasn't in it very much, but he did had an important role.
Dane DeHaan. The whole time I was trying to picture. I'm like, who is that? I know that voice and that chin, but I couldn't name it. I thought it was one of the Skarsgård kids, but no, it was Dane DeHaan makes an appearance. We got Solo. Alden Ehrenreich shows up as well. Jason Clarke. Okay. Famous Australian. Jack Quaid, who you love, shows up.
He wasn't in it very much.
No, but most of them aren't in it very much. No. David Dastmalchian shows up. He's a very small role as well.
Well, he has an important role.
So a lot of actors, like big name actors, show up just to be in a Christopher Nolan film, even if it's a very small role.
I don't think that was the point. I think the point was it was showing the team and how they work things out. And they had the scientists represent it.
Some of them are just other military officials or politicians,
Most of
and
them
they're
were
very
the
just
scientists.
small roles.
I don't
So
know. I didn't. I think most of them were the scientists. That's why I was talking about the sweaty guy. He's always sweating, which I
this
thought was
movie
hilarious.
is a bit convoluted, and how Christopher Nolan does it, where it's just constantly going back and forth through different time periods, and you have to pick up what's going on. It doesn't say, like, it doesn't come up and be like, well, there was titles in it a bit, but it wasn't identifying the years, and that you had to pick it up based on all the dialogue. So this is a movie you really have to pay attention to, and it's really fast paced. Like, there's always something going on. There's a couple of scenes where you're, once again, Chris Nolan, which, like, can't hear very well what they're saying.
Yeah, I did mind that. As a mostly half-deaf person, I guess. I can't hear out of one ear.
It was
I did find it hard to tell
way
what they're
better
saying
than
sometimes.
the sound dialogue issues that they had with his last movie, one of your favorites, Tenet.
I wish that it had subtitles sometimes, because I did find I had to really focus, and all of a sudden it gets really loud.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, I did find it, for a hard of hearing person, I guess that's what I'm called, I did find it sometimes a little difficult, but I think I picked up on most everything, but I had to really focus on it. And listen, it was easy because the theater was absolutely packed, but everyone was so quiet.
Oh yeah,
there wasn't a noise from the audience.
No, everyone was really quiet.
Especially, there is a part of the movie where it does go completely silent, and there was not a noise in the theater. Also, everyone was glued to the screen.
Also, for a 3-hour movie, I found that very few people got up to use the washroom.
Unfortunately,
like, very
the guy,
few.
Like, next to me got up.
But
other than him, I didn't see anyone else.
Normally, you'd think a lot of people would be getting up throughout.
Yeah, and they waited, actually. They all got up
people ran out at the end.
At a time where things were a little bit, there was more levity, so people ran out. That fella ran out.
I just didn't drink very much before I went, so I was fine. But yeah, that's tip, It's 3 hours. Don't drink anything for probably 2 hours before you go. And don't get a pop when you're there.
Yeah, he got up, but I thought the girl too, she was drinking a lot of her big beverage, and I thought, no, she's gonna have to get up too, but she managed it. But listen,
yeah, this is not the way you want to get your giant big
No,
call.
she had like a big one, and I was like, oh no, she's drinking it again. But where he got up, it was the right time. But I found everyone was glued to the movie. People were really into it.
I was nodding off a little bit
at
times.
You weren't. I could tell it's not for you.
Oof.
It's about character development and a story. No, it wasn't really your
character development
thing,
is good.
But it wasn't your thing. It just, I know, it was boring to you because it just wasn't your
It's kind of a slow burn.
Yeah,
and
you
there's
like that.
Too many storylines added with too many different time periods that made it convoluted and a bit confusing at times. So this is a movie you really got to pay attention to, and if you run to the washroom even once, you're probably gonna miss something important.
I think he looked at it and said, how do I tell the entire Oppenheimer story? And I think this is what he came up with, because he wanted to tell the whole story, just didn't want to show the story till the bomb went off. So this did do that. It was a way of telling almost the entire story of him, and his dark times, and his womanizing was in their bed, although they didn't really stress that a lot. It sounded like he was sleeping with a lot of people, maybe. I don't know, because we get some of that.
I don't know, but that's the only reason Florence Pugh is in this movie.
Yeah, her character, I didn't quite get her, but who knows? It was a different time. Anyway, but, yeah, and it does. I'm not going to say the spoiler. There's a spoiler about what happens.
No, we're not spoiling this.
There's a spoiler.
The whole third act for me, I could have done without. Like, if it was the first and second act, and then they have just combined put the third act into like a very fast epilogue, just some fast cutscenes or something, I would have been fine with that, or the text that comes up at the end. I didn't need a third hour of this movie, so... I
just was glued to it. I really enjoyed it. I thought it was great. I wish, yes, that the nudity wasn't in, because I wish children could watch it a little bit too, like younger kids. Not really young, but because it's about people working together and the threat that was going on, that, like, we might talk about veterans and stuff like that, but for people to really understand the threat that was happening. This really does demonstrate a lot of that, of how it was necessary to do this and why it was necessary.
It puts you into the context of the time, because when we look back on events now,
it's easy to say,
hindsight is 2020, right?
Oh,
it's
yeah,
easy
yeah,
to, to be Captain Hindsight
right.
and just know, oh, this is what you should have done, but based on you weren't in that situation.
They also had they knew that there was an issue coming forth, and that's also demonstrated in this, an issue that people weren't aware of, but people in the know were thinking, they were knowing what the future was going to happen, right? That was also interesting. I thought it was really good.
Let's wrap this up. What rating would you give this on the internet rating system?
I'd probably give it like a 93.
On the internet rating scale, I'm going to give this a worst movie ever. It's just, to me, this is another boring, long Christopher Nolan movie. It's a slow burn. There's tons of dialogue. It's quite convoluted. And you didn't need the third act at all. And I really don't want to invest my time watching this again. It was interesting. It held my attention for the most part. But also at the time, I felt it. Reason why I kind of started nodding off is because I just start feeling exhausted as so much is coming at me. I'm just like, holy jeez. You just got to keep track of a lot that's going on.
I wasn't like that at all. I just thought it was really interesting. But it also demonstrated as well that America, well, and you could say Canada as well, doesn't care about scientists. That's also a theme. We're not leaders in science, and there's a reason why, and this sort of demonstrates some of the reasons why.
We don't really want to talk about the themes because that kind of gets into spoiler territory.
Everybody knows that. Anyway, I thought it was really good, and I thought, take this material, how are you going to explain the life of a man? This is the way it was done, and I think it was done really well.
Okay, so different opinions. Let us know your opinion on the new Oppenheimer movie. Did you see it in IMAX or just regular screening? We saw it in IMAX, and I regretted that.
Fabulous.
It's loud.
It was great.
So let us know your thoughts down below on Oppenheimer, and if you're not interested in go seeing it because you're not a big Christopher Nolan fan, kind of like myself, let us know down in the comments below. You can always give us a thumbs. Oh, thank you to anyone who gives us a thumbs up and subscribes. We appreciate that. What's our next review we're gonna go into? Star Trek: Strange New Worlds. Yes. You watched 2 episodes.
I just did.
Episodes 6 and 7.
Well,
were they good?
Yes, I have watched episode 6.
Okay, Lost in Translation.
Yeah.
And episode 7 is called Those Old Scientists.
So.
Okay, go ahead and spoil this.
Oh, what I liked about this episode, this number
Spoilers.
6, about Lost in Translation, that's what it was called. Yeah, that makes sense as a title. It was a O'Hara episode. O'Hara is hearing these things and seeing these things, and she thinks she's going nuts, and she starts getting a little violent even.
Is it drugs?
And no. And they bring in Kirk. Now, we've seen Kirk before. Not Sam Kirk.
Is he a student? Is he a cadet at this time?
No, he's doing well. He's moving up the ranks real fast. He just got promoted to first officer on the Farragut.
Who's playing him?
Well, the guy they have playing him, he's not like Shatner. He's almost like he's more like Jim Carrey. The guy that they have playing him, he's like a Jim Carrey type guy. He's a little bit more goofy. He's like a serious Jim Carrey. But that's where they went with Captain Kirk on this. We've seen him before. His brother Sam is on the ship. He studies like exobotany or something like that. And we've seen him a few times. But we saw Kirk in the episode when Vaughn goes to a different timeline, and she basically falls in love with him, but then she has to come back and he doesn't really know what happened. He's not aware of it, but she kind of falls in love with him. So here he is on the ship again, and we see a little bit of her in it. But basically he tries to help O'Hara because he kind of runs into her and tries to help her, and then there's another guy who goes nuts with experiencing the same thing and actually gets himself ejected into space.
Paul Wesley plays Kirk on that show.
He looks like Jim Carrey, and he acts a bit of Jim Carrey. But he's acting
wacky?
Well, he doesn't have the Captain Kirk Pike has more of the Captain Kirkness.
Okay.
In this, he doesn't really act like I would think maybe Shatner now, but he doesn't have, I don't know what it is, but he's more like a serious Jim Carrey. Anyway, but it's good. So anyway, she finds out that there's aliens are trying to communicate with her, and she saves the day. But in it, I enjoyed this because my favorite character from last season, who was killed off, is remembered in this episode.
Okay,
and
so cameo appearance.
Yeah, and they're dealing with his death, and they're grieving him because that is a problem.
Who's the character? The engineer?
Yeah, the engineer, the blind guy. He was a blind guy with the two little things, antennas. I forget what they're called. The blue guys with the antennas. Andorians?
I don't know.
Andorians? Anyway, he was killed off, and he was an interesting character. So they explain that like Uhura is grieving him, and Number One is grieving him, because in a lot of the Star Trek we never see that happening. Like we just move on to the next episode, and all is forgotten. Yeah, which happens a lot.
Yeah, that's classic television.
Exactly. So in this, they're showing because there's resentment towards the new chief engineer, and we find out why. Because they're missing him so much. And she's a different sort. I like her character, though. She's also very interesting. They're probably going to kill her off now, too. Anyway, interesting character they have to kill off. Anyway, but I enjoyed it. It's like Uhura's 22 in this thing. So she was 21 last year. She's 22. She just, like, this is her first real job.
How old is Kirk?
Kirk is...
Is he, like, in his
20s?
30s?
Maybe he's 30.
No, I think this guy's in his 30s.
He's not that old, but he's not that young either, and his brother as well.
Well, the actor who plays him is 40.
Oh, well, he's supposed to be a little younger than that. Anyway, he's the youngest to ever get to this place, and he has an argument with his brother about it, because their father was also the same, and his brother is not like that, and they have a bit of tiff. Anyway, I enjoyed the episode. Then, all of a sudden, I was like, what's going on? What's this? There's a new episode? And then it changed to the Lower Decks. I'm like, what on earth? What's going on? And I checked to make sure I was on the right show. It was a crossover.
Was it a Lower Decks episode?
Crossover, no. Well, it was considered, because I don't think Lower Decks is not out right now. It's a Strange New Worlds, because it came on right afterwards.
Lower Decks is animated, though.
Yes! So
were there live action characters?
Yes.
Interacting with animated characters,
well, no,
Roger Rabbit style?
No, we started with animation, and then we got the real Tawny Newsome and Jack Quaid, and Jack Quaid had purple hair, are in this episode. So I enjoyed it a lot because they do the voices of Boimler and the main character, like Mariner. So her name's
Mariner?
Beckett Mariner.
Oh, okay. Yeah, the captain's daughter.
Yeah. So they basically come in real time, and they get to meet their heroes, of course. And Spock is doing like really creepy things, and he's like smiling, and it's real creepy. And Boimler thinks that he broke Spock.
But they didn't get to meet Tom Paris in this episode.
Not yet, but they do talk at the end. They solve it by using a piece of the old ship that Archer was commanding, and they talk about some of the people from that show. Basically, they solve it that way, and they meet the Orions, and Tendy's grandmother is there, her great grandmother. Anyway, and it was fun. It was really fun. I really enjoyed it, and it had some like wackiness, and Boimler like screamed like a girl.
Did he look at the warp core?
Yes, he did.
What did he say?
He said how soothing it was. He had to go take some time out.
He didn't like that it was old retro tech?
No, he thought it was all awesome, and he wanted to see it all. And he was telling them a bit of their futures, though, and they had to tell him like to stop it, right?
Yeah.
And it was funny, and Spock was... But there was a bit of sad spot on there, because Spock and the nurse are kind of getting close, but I think that's going to stop. Anyway, it was real fun, and I enjoyed it a lot because I love the Lower Decks, and I just couldn't believe that they did it. I was so excited because I didn't expect another episode because we only get one a week. Anyway, it was a real treat.
So you got Jack Quaid in Strange New Worlds.
And Tawny Newsome.
Okay, so they were both there.
Yeah.
Were they in their future uniforms, TNG uniforms that they wear?
They had on their outfits that they would have had in their time.
Yeah, TNG uniforms. That's what they wear, isn't it?
Well, I guess sort of. They're a little different. They have white and stuff on them. Anyway, they have a little different uniform. So yeah, they got sent back in the past, and it was fun. Okay. It was fun, and
maybe I should check out that episode. Was that the new one that just dropped yesterday?
Yeah.
Those old scientists?
Yeah, see, those old scientists, TOS. It stands for TOS, and they talk about that because someone had already mentioned them as TOS in the show.
Who's TOS? Spock?
No, the original series.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. They've Ransom, I think, already said on the show something like the TOS crew, and then that's what it is. Those old scientists, because of course it's the original series, right? TOS. Gotcha, so that's what it's about. It's fun anyway, and apparently Captain Pike there's a holiday on Captain Pike's birthday.
What holiday?
Captain Pike's birthday holiday.
Captain Pike Day.
It's like the Queen's birthday.
Why does he have a holiday on his birthday?
He gets one.
He ain't dead yet.
No, but they do allude to that. He knows that his
What did
end
he do
is
that
coming.
earned a holiday? A day named after him.
He did a lot of things. He's
Sounds
pretty heroic.
Yes, I mean, if it's usually you do a holiday after someone's dead, like they have Zephyr Cochrane Day.
Yeah. Well,
stuff
he's pretty
like
big.
that. Well,
apparently they have a Captain Pike Day, according to Boimler. And because he knows when his birthday is. The people on the ship don't know when his birthday is, but Boimler knows when his birthday is.
So in that case, by the time you get to TNG, they should have holidays for all the TOS.
There's a lot of holidays.
The TOS
it's
crew.
Like Newfoundland.
You'd have a Sulu Day, a Chekhov Day.
Uhura Day for sure.
Okay. A McCoy Day.
Mm-hmm.
Uhura Day, Kirk Day,
definitely
Spock Day.
Spock week, I would say.
Yeah, maybe.
They owe him a lot.
Well, if Spock gets a week, then that means Kirk would get a whole month. Okay?
I don't know.
Because Kirk would want the whole month.
He would. Anyway, it was really fun, and I really enjoyed it. And it really surprised me, because I had no idea. I'm like, what's going on? I haven't seen this episode of the show, and then I realized, but I'm still watching Strange New Worlds, and then I was like, no, they're going to go to Strange New Worlds.
Is this your favorite episode of this whole series so far?
Probably, because it was just
so
really
excited
fun.
About
and it was, the thing is, I didn't know it was coming, so it was so unexpected. I just had a lot of fun with it.
Are these hour-long episodes, half hour?
They're like a show, like an hour, yeah. They're like 47 minutes.
Maybe I'll just check out that one episode, because I haven't seen any of Strange New Worlds, but that sounds like a fun episode, so I'll check it out.
You can ask me why Spock is smiling in it.
I don't care. He would be smiling.
And he's really, like, creepy with his smiling, and he laughs really weird.
So, that's what Christine thinks. She's got lots of thoughts on Strange New Worlds. Are you enjoying Star Trek Strange New Worlds? Apparently, it's a big hit, and lots of fans are loving it.
It's great.
I guess I should check it out. Let us know your thoughts down in the comments below. And we thank anyone who gives a like on this video, and if you subscribe for more content. Appreciate you guys checking out our videos here. Especially when Christine's so excited about Star Trek.
I was excited.
Now let's talk more about Star Trek Strange New Worlds. You watched episode 8 that came out this week.
Yeah.
What's it called, and was it any good?
Really dark.
It was dark.
Really dark. Yeah.
So it was depressing?
No, it wasn't depressing. It was called Under the Cloak of War. So we've already seen Mbega, the doctor, and Chapel. They were in the war, the Klingon War together, and we've already seen
in Discovery?
No. They were
spoilers.
Stationed together, and we know that he developed this serum that makes you like superpowered type of thing, because they had to use it on another episode, and because although he is a doctor and he helps heal people, he's also very good at.
They got superpowers.
It's like a syrup. It's like a serum that you inject, and it makes you.
So it's Compound V.
Not really, but it puts up your epinephrine. It makes you like rage. Anyway, so
turns you into the Hulk.
Kinda. Not that extreme, but anyway, they have to fight with this. Anyway, so this time, this Klingon guy comes, and he's supposed to be the guy that's supposed to be into peace. And he's on the ship, and there are a lot of people that were in the war. There's a lot that were not. And they, of course, are much more open about it all.
Mm-hmm.
But the people that actually participated in the war and saw everyone around them being murdered feel a little differently about him. Because he's supposed to be this guy that turned against to make peace and all this kind of stuff. Right?
The show sounds depressing.
This one was really harsh.
Why is it so dark?
It's not normally. This one was dark.
Why are these characters so serious all the time?
They're not always. The charades episode was really funny.
Okay.
Anyway,
is Spock still doing his smiling and laughing and trying to be more emotional all the time?
No,
or did he stop that after the last episode?
This is about Omega and Chapel and a few other characters and their experience with the war and this guy. So
what about Pike?
No, he's not involved in it. This is about their journey and the horrible things that they had to go through.
Oh, during the war.
Yes.
War.
And they were on this place, and this guy was the guy that killed everybody. Basically, his order was kill everybody that's not a Klingon soldier. So they killed everybody.
Civilians.
Oh, everybody.
Oh, that's not cool.
So the Klingons killed everybody. And
that's a war crime.
Yeah, well, this is the thing. And now they're celebrating him as a hero, as a peace hero, right?
Yeah.
And so the captains...
So they've whitewashed their history to make it seem all, oh, we're great.
Realizing we got to get this guy, well, number one, we got to get this guy off our ship.
Mm-hmm.
Because people are saying things and tensions are running really high. So they decide they're going to take a shortcut to get him to wherever he's going sooner.
Mm-hmm.
Because it's not going well. And he wants to do Klingon fighting with the Doctor and everything, and they're very stressed out. Like, and we see him, he's still like shell shocked.
And this guy's a human?
The Doctor is shell shocked.
Okay.
From his time. Nurse Chapel is too a bit, but he's really affected. And so the story is about this guy. He's called, like, the story was that he killed his men when he found out like how they were treating people and how they were killing everybody. He was the butcher of this place, right? He was known as that.
The Doctor was?
No, the Klingon.
Oh.
He's known as the butcher of Fingal, whatever this planet was that they were on. Does he have
one of those weird Klingon names? Like.
No, he has another name I can't remember. Anyway, this is what he's known as. That he killed his men because he revolted against them because of all the terrible things they were doing, and he got out of there and he killed them all because they were doing so many atrocities, and he turned to the side of the Federation. This is the story, right?
Okay.
But what we find out in the end, spoilers, is that the Doctor is actually the butcher.
He's actually a Klingon.
No, he's the guy that went in.
Mm-hmm.
He took the serum, he killed all the Klingons to get to this fella, and he escaped.
Does he still have these superpowers?
No,
Did it
it's
wear
not
off?
It's just a thing that he puts in and makes you like rage. It's like taking like, I don't know, like an energy drink or something.
It's like gamma radiation pills so he can become the Hulk, but just for a short time.
It's not as serious as that. Anyway, that's not important. The thing is, the Klingon is going on saying he's the butcher and everything, but it's not. It's the Doctor. Of course, the Doctor knows this the whole time. Because the Klingon, he's fake. And so he lets him know, and he has this Klingon little sword thing, and they get in an altercation, and he kills the Klingon. Mm-hmm. Nurse Chapel sees it, but she can't really see what's happening. And they test this knife, and they find out, yes, it has the blood of all these Klingons on it that he was supposed to have killed, right?
Maybe so he should have disinfected that knife.
He gets off. She says no, that the general came after him, and yeah. So
does he get fired?
No, because they blame the guy, the Klingon that got killed for it. Said he got aggressive and he had this knife, but the thing is, the Doctor had the knife, and he is the butcher. He's the one that killed all the Klingons, and this guy is such a fake. Anyway, it was really good. It was really dark because in all these Star Trek people have been in terrible wars that we've seen and only really Picard seems as a character we've shown some of his like problems that he's had with it. We haven't seen a lot of these characters having issues with going through this stuff, right?
Star Trek world's too
They're
perfect.
pretty like perfect. So I thought it was good because this is how the people really would be, and they should be scarred by this.
Okay.
And so I really enjoyed it. It is dark though.
Couple of questions for you.
Yeah.
The first officer is played by Rebecca Romaine.
Yeah.
Who's Mystique. What's her character's name?
Una.
Una?
I think so. I think her name's Una. She's
Okay.
number 1. Doesn't matter.
Yeah. Una. What a terrible name.
I don't know.
Where's she from?
She's from this planet that they're not supposed to be allowed to be Starfleet because they genetically altered their kids to make them strong.
she's the con.
No, she's
person.
not the con person. That's another person. She's from this race, and they are not allowed in Starfleet, but she gets out of it. That was a few episodes back.
Mm.
So she's in there, and then we have the con lady as well. She's descendant of them, but she actually doesn't seem to have superpowers.
So I watched after you talked about the other episodes. I went and watched episode 7 with you of this because it was the crossover episode,
which I enjoyed.
And yeah, it was fun. It was fun having Jack Quaid, because Jack Quaid's always great and stuff. And then it had the other who plays Boimler, and then Mariner.
Yeah.
They were there in live action, and I've seen her in a few things. She was in Space Force. She even popped up actually in Creed 3. I actually just watched
all Space Force again. It's so funny.
Okay. But that episode 7, had some good funny moments in it, and there was a bit of fun. Why are the Enterprise crew, the Strange New Worlds crew, why are they so serious?
Because that's how the original series
was. So serious. And the hair on that guy?
Military.
Jeez.
They're very military.
He definitely doesn't have a military crew cut.
No,
that
their
guy's
earrings
all about that.
and hair and stuff are not, but they're very military.
You know what? I'm going to put a picture of Captain Pike there from the show up on the screen. Look at this guy's hair. I mean, how does... That guy must spend hours on his hair every day.
It just has some gel in it. You're just jealous.
I'm sure that's probably a wig. Of course I'm jealous of
He
that guy's hair.
has a lot of gel. Well, he has hairdressers there. Anyway, they do comment on his hair a few times.
Yeah.
But
and how stoic they are and serious. They are,
because it's very military. That's how it is. Like the first one too was they were very serious.
Mm-hmm.
It's just the next generation that they started playing all the instruments. And
I did have some fun watching episode 7 of season 2 for Strange New Worlds, but I'm not going to watch the show. I'm more likely to watch Lower Decks than Strange New Worlds.
But I like Strange New Worlds a lot. I like Star Trek. You're not as much a Star Trek fan. That's why you're watching Voyager.
Yeah, and I'm glad you're enjoying Strange New Worlds there, and you're able to update us on this, because it's not something I'm going to be checking out.
I don't know if I made it clear or not, but check it out.
Yeah. Let us know what you think of Star Trek Strange New Worlds. I think we still got 2 more episodes for this season. Yeah, 2 more episodes, 9 and 10.
We only get 10.
August 3rd and then August 10th. So stay tuned for more spoiler episodes of Star Trek Strange New Worlds. Thank you to anyone who gives us a thumbs up on this and subscribes for more content. Now let's move on to... something that isn't so great. Spoilers. Secret Invasion. We got the finale, episode 6, this Wednesday. And, do you want to start on this, or should I?
Well, there was major plot issues. The whole thing with his wife. Their relationship has just been yucky. And then she goes with him in the end. That's a spoiler, but give me... And then all the people would have been really dead by now because they've been absorbing nuclear material in their body for like who knows how many months, but yet they're fine. They would all be dead. Yeah, all the people that the Skrulls had captured, like hundreds if not thousands of people, were just in the basement of this abandoned nuclear reactor in Russia, and they're fine. They're fine. Okay, they're fine. It's just really lame. Including Martin Freeman. Oh, they're all there. And Rhodey. Looks like they took Rhodey from the hospital after Civil War. That's my guess. Hospital gown. I don't know. It's total missed opportunity with all these actors. And for some reason, the bad guy, he killed all of his people that were there, which made no sense at all. I'm just... Olivia Colman is fantastic in it. It's just a waste of her talents.
Yeah.
It's just
It's kind
not
of a waste of
written
everyone
right,
in this.
Not written right. It didn't make, like, just shoot Don Cheadle in the foot, people, or take a little scalpel and cut his finger or something.
Yeah,
like, oh my god! And the president was really lame.
This was not a good series, and why would they release this? I have no idea. I mean, what they did was essentially at the beginning of this series, Nick Fury's in space and he comes down from there, and at the end he goes back to space, but he takes his Skrull wife with him. And what did we get out of this? We found out that there's a million more Skrulls on the planet, and they were trying to take over. So Fury takes care of it himself. He doesn't call in any of the Avengers or any of the superheroes, because they're no more, I guess. We got a terrible death for Maria Hill.
Yeah, they never did bring her back.
Colby Smulders didn't deserve that. We also got a pretty crappy death for Talos, for Ben Mendelsohn.
Stupid.
Why would you do that to those characters, especially those big name actors?
It's just really lame.
So we didn't really get much out of this series, not much good. And I don't like crapping on things all the time, but my opinion is that Disney, Marvel Studios, should not have released this, because all they're doing, as well as they've done with a lot of their other Disney Plus series and some of the movies recently, they're just devaluing their own brand. And people are turned off of this. People have pretty much tuned out of the MCU since Endgame came out. That was kind of the end chapter, and everything we've gotten since then, we've gotten some good stuff, but we've gotten a lot more misses than we have hits. And so the next day, after we watched this when it was released on Wednesday, the next day on YouTube, I saw ads for it. Secret Invasion, 6-episode series, watch it on Disney Plus. And then the next ad, subscribe for Disney Plus. And I'm sitting there thinking, that's not good marketing, because you're marketing this product, which is not good, and most people don't like it. You know what? Now that the show's over, I'm gonna look up what it is on Rotten Tomatoes here, because I haven't looked it up.
Only people that drank the Kool-Aid will like it.
Secret Invasion. Let's see what this 56% Rotten Critic rating and a 59% audience score. Even audiences aren't like it. So essentially about just over half of critics and the audiences are saying something good about it. Doesn't mean it's the best thing ever. They're just saying, it was alright. That is a bad score.
It's rotten.
So yeah, this is definitely rotten, and this was a waste of Sam Jackson's talents.
All of them.
All of them, yeah. Olivia Colman was the best in this for me, because I mean, she's having fun time. She's delivering these bad lines, but she's so perky and happy. And then they're like, Olivia Colman, get in that hole in the floor. Crawl through that tunnel. I don't care how old you are.
Anyway.
I didn't like that.
It just was bad.
Funny.
And it had inconsistencies. The characters, you didn't really like them.
Now, another thing that's going to have long-lasting implications, because they kept like, oh, we're killing this character. No, wait, they're not dead. Surprise. Stop doing that. They do that way too much. But Emilia Clarke's character, Gaia, they made her into a Super Skrull. But this is not the Super Skrull from the comics. In the comics, they have these Super Skrulls, and what they have is they have Fantastic Four powers. So they can do like the Rock, have the strength of Ben Grimm, the Thing.
She has a lot of powers as demonstrated in the
But
show.
in this, there is no Fantastic Four in the MCU yet. So instead, they give her all the powers from all the Guardians and all the Avengers and all the superheroes and a lot of the villains. And so now she has all the powers, and it's too much. Like, she even has Captain Marvel's powers.
I don't know. It was just a lame scene. The whole thing was lame.
Why would they make a character into someone that is this powerful? Like, what are you going to do with this character now?
And shouldn't a Skrull know who's a Skrull? That was also my point in the whole thing.
That was a bad choice on their part. And so, man, this was my opinion, just my own personal opinion, is that 1, Disney should not be advertising this. 2, they should just take it off Disney Plus right away and act as if it didn't happen. Just like Lucasfilm did with the Star Wars Christmas special. If you've ever seen clips of that, or if you've ever seen it, If you haven't, one, don't watch the Star Wars Holiday Special because it's terrible. Okay, but this is like up there.
Was it your Life Day?
Yeah, Life Day. That's still a thing in Star Wars canon, but we don't talk about the Christmas special because it was so bad. But this, they should just get rid of this because
this is better than the Book of Boba Fett.
The more people that watch this series, the more people are going to be turned off of the MCU. I mean, why did we need
have
this?
Exhaustion of it, and now the Marvels is coming out. I don't know. It could be awful. If it's like this, I don't know. I'm giving up.
There's rumors going... Yeah, and that's exactly my point. More people who see this are going to... I don't want to watch this garbage. It's not very good. Whereas we watched Peacemaker Season 1, and we had a great time. It was essentially the same thing.
DC, don't give them too many congratulations, because they've had way more terrible shows than Marvel has.
Yeah, but both DC and Marvel are kind of in the crapper right now.
Just make Thor movies.
And
everyone will be happy.
Although people didn't respond very well to that last Thor movie,
Oh,
Love
I
and
don't
Thunder.
care. Give me Thor movies. I think it was great.
They've really had a lot of hit and misses, and I agree with, even though lately what Bob Iger has come out and said about the strikes, saying some bad things and making himself look like a rich douchebag. But what he said about the Disney Plus shows is that they've diluted the brand. Now, I understand at the beginning of the pandemic, it was great. Because they had WandaVision, they had Falcon and Winter Soldier, and they couldn't release their stuff into theaters.
I like WandaVision.
Okay? What did you think of Loki Season 1?
I thought it was very Doctor Who.
So did I, but did you enjoy
don't watch
it?
Doctor Who, but I did enjoy it a lot, but I thought it was a real takeoff of Doctor Who stuff.
Yeah,
I thought it was a real Doctor Who copy type of thing.
I thought it was okay, but I don't want to go back and watch it. And since then, all the Disney Plus stuff has been very hit and miss. So WandaVision was a hit. Falcon and Winter Soldier was a hit. Loki Season 1, meh.
I liked it better than some
Moon Knight was disappointing for a lot of people.
It was okay.
Hawkeye was very disappointing for a lot of people.
No. I don't remember the
A lot of people liked Ms. Marvel.
It was okay.
What do we get? A lot of people didn't like She-Hulk. That was very divisive.
I think it was a waste of talent.
And now we got Secret Invasion, which
ain't good.
Like all-star cast. What are they doing over there? Are they trying to? They're just running it into the ground.
Well, maybe they're not paying them. They weren't paying those writers enough, and they went left because now, of course, they're on strike. But maybe it's something to do with that. No, I don't know.
I'll tell you what the problem is. The problem is they've, because of Bob Chapek, they switched to quantity, and they had to hire a lot of people. And your ultimate decision maker there is Kevin Feige.
Well, it's the
but
editor
he's not involved as much in he's not involved in a lot of projects now, and that's why we're getting all these crappy projects.
Whoever gets the script and edits it, and that's where the blame is on most of these things. The scripts are they seem like primary. They're not the final version.
He used to be the final say on everything. He'd have to sign off on all the scripts and everything, but he doesn't do that now because there's too much. So, in my opinion, I would say go back to only releasing like 2 products a year, and don't do these Disney Plus shows.
Get his whole family to read them and read them back to him as a summary so he can.
Only do a couple of projects a year, a couple of movies. Forget these Disney Plus shows. And, I mean, you can still do a couple of specials or one-shots, as I was talking about before in another episode. But get rid of these crappy Disney Plus shows and instead make good movies. Like Hawkeye, it would have been better if that had been a really good movie. If they had made that into a good movie.
Well, I was also confused.
Ms. Marvel would have been better as a movie as well. All of them would. Except for maybe WandaVision.
No,
WandaVision was good as a series.
Well, Loki too.
Falcon and Winter Soldier, you could have made that into a movie. And I think it would have been better.
I don't remember that one very much.
With John Walker as Captain America?
Yeah, I do. It was okay.
Yeah, and that's what I personally really enjoyed that one.
A lot of fighting in it. See, I don't like that. I like an interesting story. That's why I like Loki better, WandaVision better. Because I don't like the fighting. It's so boring. It's just computer images.
Sometimes.
That's what I
Although
find.
sometimes when you get like actual hand-to-hand fighting, such as...
I hate all the fighting. I mean, I just hate it. I don't care what it is.
Okay. Okay? But a lot of people watch this because
it's
you get
boring.
a lot of fun and everything and some good action scenes.
It's like in the last Lord of the Rings book, I just jumped like 50 pages.
Well, Tolkien's very different there.
All the fighting, I'm like,
So,
no,
what would you...
skipping this.
So, getting back to this Secret Invasion, what rating would you give this now that this series is over?
I don't know. Jeez, it just was so inconsistent.
Yeah.
I'd probably give it a 55 or something.
So just barely a pass then, huh?
Yeah.
Or unless your threshold is 60% as a pass.
For me, I give everything a 90. It was bad.
No surprise for me. I give this a worst series ever.
That's what it means.
Okay.
755.
Marvel and Disney, what are you doing? You know what? If they made this and they knew how bad it was, they should have just buried it and taken it as a tax write-off. Same thing that Warner Bros. Did with that Batgirl movie. They're like, we ain't releasing this garbage. And that's probably what they should have done here. Just like what Sony should have done with that Morbius movie. They shouldn't have released that crap.
Too.
Okay? And the more times we get crap stuff, we get crap superhero things, then everyone checks out and doesn't go see it. And then we won't get more of these.
You don't trust them anymore. You're not sure.
Yeah.
You know?
Okay? I mean, we got Guardians Volume 3, which was great.
It was great, but it was very sad. It was very depressing.
It was sad.
It wasn't uplifting, though. That's the only thing about it, and some people didn't like that.
Well,
right?
It was Rocket's story.
But it was depressing. I mean, it was harsh.
We're getting too many misses from Marvel lately, so I didn't enjoy the Secret Invasion show. I'm not going back to watch it anytime soon, if ever. But let us know what you think about Secret Invasion. We had one viewer comment to us, said that they thought it was the greatest thing ever. And that's great if you enjoyed it.
I mean, we thought it was going to be good.
Just didn't work for us.
Probably after like the 5th episode, we were like, wait a minute here. There's big issues.
Really? I said that after the 2nd episode.
No, when Don Cheadle started acting weird, we're like, what the hell's going on there?
Now it's time for more Chakotay's Odyssey, featuring the adventures of Janeway.
This is a Star Trek that you like.
No, I just enjoy watching how bad it is. Star Trek Voyager Season 2, Episode 16 is called Meld. And...
My Meld? With Tuvok?
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Guess whose episode this is? Tuvok. And similar to, because this is only his 2nd episode where he's the main character of it, and similar to the last one, which was pretty funny, because that one he was giving crap to all those 4 Maquis crew members,
right,
and making them run up and down the Jeffries tubes and across the whole ship, and just being a jerk to them. So this one was very different, but it was actually quite good. I enjoyed it. And you're like, Tuvok, right? He's terrible. He's boring. But no, they're actually making... The writers must have gotten together and be like, okay, what can we do to make Tuvok interesting? And what do fans want to see in this episode?
Yeah, well, I don't mind Tuvok, but he is kind of boring.
But they bring in a heavy, which is a Hollywood term, the entertainment industry term, where they bring in a bigger actor to guest star, and he or she is the heavy, so usually the villain, right?
Okay.
So they bring in, what's his name there? This Brad Dourif, okay?
Yeah, Brad Dourif.
Okay, who you would he's most famous for being in the Lord of the Rings trilogy, where he played Grima Wormtongue in The Two Towers. But also, if you watch the extended version of the Lord of the Ring, Return of the King, which all 4 hours and 20 minutes of it, which we watched, he also appears in the 2nd one too. First time I saw this guy was probably 1997. He's been acting forever, but I saw him in Alien Resurrection. He was one of the evil scientists.
He plays a good evil
helped bring back the aliens and Sigourney Weaver to kill the aliens. Because what else are you going to do with aliens? You got to kill them, right? It's either you or them.
Not if you're in Star Trek. They have to be your crewmates.
They got xenomorphs in Starfleet.
No, but they have weird looking aliens all the time. They have to be friendly too.
I want to see that crossover. I want to see Star Trek and they come across Alien, the xenomorph. They would be like, kill them all! Screw the Prime Directive, wipe these things out! I want to see that. Okay? Anyway, so this episode, they bring in Brad Dourif, and he's the heavy. He's playing crewman Lon Suter. He's a Betazoid. He's got these black eyes.
Oh, yeah, that'd be creepy. He looks creepy.
Yeah, he has a creepy look, and he's got a good voice for that.
Yeah. Like that David's just Mulchin. He also has a creepy look to him.
So it starts off, I don't know if you get to see all the characters in this. I think it starts off in engineering with B'Elanna, because she's sciencing it up again. And and she's talking to one of the other engineers. I think it's the guy from the funeral that was giving the captain a hard time at the funeral a couple episodes ago.
Okay.
And so they're talking, and then suddenly there's this half a second flash where it flashes to this other engineer who's just working away, And first I thought, was that Reg Barkley? Did they bring him? Did they bring back old Reg Barkley?
He was in like almost every one.
No, it was only because it was such a quick flash and I didn't and it was far off. It was Brad Dourif's character, Lon Suter. So they just showed this guy for half a second. He's just working away, looking creepy. And then later on, Tuvok is checking out something. Where is it? B'Elanna, and finds a dead crewman. The engine. Yeah, the engineer that she was talking to.
Oh.
So he turns up dead. Okay.
In for Janeway.
And what happens is Tuvok shows up and he has a meeting with the captain and the XO. So with Janeway and Chakotay.
Yeah.
And the whole time he's just trying to make excuses. Like, he's supposed to be a security chief, but he's really bad at his job. He keeps making excuses like, oh, maybe this happened, this is how this guy died, right?
Could be anything. They're flying through all those nebulas.
But the doctor, they're in sickbay. Yeah, so the doctor is proving him wrong and just being a smart ass. They're like, no, actually, you're wrong, that's security chief. This is what happened. And then he declares it a murder. Okay?
Oh, yes, a murder mystery.
But the whole time, Tuvok keeps trying to make excuses like he's trying to get out of work.
He doesn't think it's a murder?
I think he's just trying to get out of work. And the doctor keeps proving him wrong, and a normal person would get pissed off. But because it's Tuvok, he just stands there.
Logically, most deaths are not murder, I suppose.
So, no, most are not. So he has a case, and now he has to investigate. So he's like, oh,
does he get
damn
his French coat on and his little hat? In the holodeck first.
It doesn't take him very long to solve it.
Oh.
Okay, he goes and questions
Brad Dourif?
Brad Dourif, Lon Suter. So he goes to question crewman Suter, and he's like, no, I didn't do it. And then later on, he gets some more evidence, goes back, and he's like, and questions him again, and he's just like, yeah, I did it. I don't care.
Yeah, well, they would have, like, if it was a ship built around this time, they would have video cameras in every single part of the ship, right?
You'd think so.
Yeah, they would.
So, Suter is just, yeah, I did it, and he's a former Maquis. So, Tuvok interrogates him, and he's like, so why'd you do it? No reason.
His psychological profile is just, he's like one of those, what do they call that when you murder without any emotion?
Psychopath?
Psychopath, yes.
So this guy apparently has a bunch of problems. So Tuvok interrogates him. He tells him, I just wanted to kill him, I had no reason, right? And so Tuvok is bothered by this. He can't let it go. Logically, there has to be an explanation.
Right.
Sure there does, right? Logically, there has to be. So he questions him again, and he just says, he looked at me the wrong way. I didn't like how he looked at me.
That's a psychopath talking.
Yeah, so he just keeps giving him BS answers. And this just keeps bothering Tuvok more and more, right?
Okay.
And so it's bothering him so much. You see him sitting in the mess hall, and he just wants to be alone, and who comes to talk to him? Neelix.
Oh, gosh.
Oh, man.
Neelix, I'm sure, has so much insight on
It's so good, and he keeps but this is full-on super annoying Neelix. The most annoying you've ever seen. He won't leave Tuvok alone, even though Tuvok keeps asking him politely to leave him be.
Yeah.
And he even sticks his finger in his mouth to try and get him to smile. Okay? Like, he's being really annoying. So what does Tuvok... And then Tuvok gets up to leave, and Neelix still won't bother him. So what does Tuvok do? He turns around, strangles him to death. Okay? Kills Neelix.
Oh, my goodness.
And he's really angry, right? So he wants to kill him. We're like, finally, we get to see what everyone wants to see. Well, Neelix is being killed.
Vulcans are supposed to be really strong. And if you know from Mr. Spock, you don't push them over the edge because they can lose their their patience and go to their emotional side.
Yeah, their primitive side, as they
Yes.
call it. So we see the death of Neelix at the hands of Tuvok.
I think I'd watch that
Great.
episode to see that.
Great! Oh, it's all in the holodeck. Which means he has a holodeck program just with a programmed annoying Neelix. I wonder if everyone uses this program just so that they
I
can
need
kill,
that program.
just so they can kill
I
Neelix
love-
in whatever way they
I
want.
love the actor and everything, but the way he's so irritating on this show.
I wonder how many crewmen have a program where they can
Yeah,
just
yeah,
kill
yeah.
someone on board, and
To
if
relieve
it's Neelix,
stress.
okay, you know they probably all got one of their boss.
Right.
The engineers probably got B'Elanna,
No.
so
Yeah,
they can.
Mariner just has one of this naked men's Olympic team.
Sure,
That's her holodeck program.
but doesn't what's the other guy's name? Borman,
What Boiler?
Boimler. But doesn't Boimler just have all of his are the different
the
warp cores?
He likes the warp
Different
core.
warp cores.
Yeah.
Okay. So anyway, I thought that was interesting that he has a program just so he can kill Neelix off. I like that. Instead of actually going to the mess hall,
That
he
was
goes
funny.
to the holodeck.
To get his aggression out before he meets him in person.
Okay. So now, in order to solve this case, Tuvok is like, he goes to Suter and he's like, we're going to do a mind meld. And Suter's like, sure, you want to be in my mind and I'm going to be in yours? Okay.
Betazoid. That's not a good idea.
But he doesn't have any Betazoid powers.
Don't they all have that?
He's going on that he doesn't have any. So this is just a weird
That's
guy.
weird against.
But also we
kind of the
find out when
canon.
this guy was in the Maquis, this guy was a bit too good at his job. Okay?
Oh.
This guy's got psychopathic problems and he's
Well,
like
it does appear that way.
and problems
They
with
just
killing
took
people.
him because it seemed like anyone could join them.
Well, he was a bit too good at killing Cardassians is what
Oh.
Chakotay said. Like he enjoyed it too
I
much.
think the Bajorans were probably good at it too.
So perfect guy for a mind meld with, right?
no.
So it does a mind meld and
Yeah.
it screws up Tuvok.
Exactly. I was gonna say. I don't think you're supposed to do mind meld with a Betazoid.
Screws him up. He gets all angry and he can't control his emotions.
Goes off the
But Suter,
rails.
he loves it. He's like, he gets
Does
some
he get
control. He gets a little bit more control, so he's like, we gotta do it again. And Tuvok's not having it. And Tuvok
Right.
eventually seals himself in his quarters.
Yeah, I think I do recall
And takes
that
away his
actually.
security clearance.
Does he have
Janeway
to have
has
his
to-
candles burning and he
Yeah.
has to do a ceremony or something?
No, he just trashes the whole place.
Ooh.
Okay? He just breaks everything. So Janeway has to go and get him out and be like, hey, do your goddamn job
Yeah.
and finish this and do your job. You can't just be hiding out here. So anyway, they have to get the doctor involved.
Right.
And then the doctor, for some reason, makes them into primitive evil Tuvok. So we see evil Tuvok. There's a whole bunch of Tuvoks in this episode. There's the normal, boring one. Then we
Right.
see angry Tuvok. Now then we see Berserker Tuvok when he's killing Neelix.
Yes.
And apparently when he's in his quarters there. Now we're seeing evil Tuvok.
Well, we saw Evil Tuvok too recently. In the other thing I was watching, where he was not Tuvok, he was taken over by an alien.
Oh, one of the Voyager episodes?
No, on the show that I just. What show was
Okay.
that one? Anyway,
Anyway,
he was
we
evil
gotta keep
Tuvok.
going here.
He can
So-
be evil,
In the end, he just wants to kill this guy.
right?
He wants to kill Brad Dourif for some reason. Anyway, because this guy's crazy. So what do they
He's on
do?
Picard.
What they do? They do another mind meld. Of course. What a great And what happens is Tuvok just passes out. And then the prisoners just stand there like, okay, I'm out of the brig here right now. So what does he do? He uses Tuvok's comm badge to call Chakotay. And Chakotay's like, what are you doing on the comm? You're supposed to be in the brig. He's
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
I'm still here, but Tuvok just
At
passed out.
least
No one
he's
else is here.
honest,
So he turns himself in.
because he's got too much.
Because
Tuvok
he
in him.
realizes from the melt that he's crazy and he's a
Right.
danger.
He needs some.
And so
reining in.
how's the episode end? Well, the doctor fixes up Tuvok,
Yeah.
with his space magic medical science. And as for Suter,
Yeah.
put him in his quarters. He's confined to his quarters for the rest of the
I
journey.
think you should just put him on some medication.
Yeah, you think they put him on medication,
They
right?
don't have good medication. Even then, they still don't have good medication.
So
for
anyway, they
psychopaths.
confine him to his quarters. End of episode. I'm like, so we're gonna see this guy again? I looked it up. We do see him coming up
I
again later on.
I do remember him
So
with those black eyes.
He actually reprises his role later on, so I'm looking forward to that.
I do remember Mr.
And then
I didn't remember what was his name. But...
And then I started looking up other reoccurring characters, like that Ensign Samantha, who I called Ensign Joanne.
Is Q in this one at all?
No, I'm talking about reoccurring characters
yeah,
right now. Okay, so the pregnant ensign. Okay, we'll see her more, and I looked up Seska. We'll see her more as well.
I know she's.
So I'm looking forward to that.
I don't think she continues after a while, though. I think.
Yeah, it's gonna.
That ends. I was just wondering if Q. I don't remember if Q came to Voyager. Probably.
I think so, but I haven't gotten there yet.
No.
However, this was a fun episode. I recommend checking this out because Tuvok is actually quite interesting. You get a great guest actor, and he's chewing all the scenery on set. He's having a great time, and he steals every scene that he's in.
Right.
Okay, every scene he's
in,
looks
so
he's
damn
the
creepy
star.
with those black eyes.
And also, you get to see the death of Neelix, so that's why I recommend this episode. Season 2, episode 16. What is it called again? Meld.
Neelix again?
Ethan Phillips?
Ethan Phillips. I'm sorry, Ethan Phillips.
I met him. He was a nice guy. But we gotta wrap up this episode of Chakotay's Odyssey featuring the adventures of Janeway. Now we're going back into the DCEU for what will be our final segment for now. We're reviewing Andy Muschietti's The Flash. So this is actually part 14 of this series.
Wow.
We saw The Flash, so this is going to be a spoiler review, but it came out a while ago at this point.
Mm-hmm.
Did you enjoy this movie, dear?
I did. I liked it.
Mm-hmm.
It did make sense to me. I thought it was fine.
What did you like about this movie? You can spoil as much as you want.
I don't know. The story made sense. The characters made sense. I thought it was fine, really. Excuse me.
Well, some people are bothered, understandably, by Ezra Miller. They don't want to support that.
Well,
because Ezra Miller's been causing a lot of problems.
As a movie.
Has been a terrible person who needs to answer to society for that now. I mentioned it before that, yeah, I don't support Ezra Miller, and, now they have to face justice, which, okay. However, Ezra Miller was really good in this movie, and did a really good job playing two different Flashes.
Right.
Some people have complained about this movie that it doesn't do enough to set up the character and explain who the Flash is for people who don't already know.
I guess we already know a lot about him, having watched the show.
Yeah, we watched the show for, 4 or 5 seasons?
Many seasons, I don't know. So I know who the Flash is, I suppose it could be, yeah, you might not have.
And you've seen the Flash in the first Suicide Squad movie, made a brief appearance.
Much there, yeah.
And we saw him in Justice League from 2017.
You didn't get much of a sense of him there. One thing I did not like was the end scene. I thought was really silly.
The end, like the climax?
The end scene.
Oh, the post-credit scene?
I thought it was really dumb. I thought it was just a waste.
With Jason Momoa.
Yeah, I didn't think it was good at all. I think it was such a waste. It could have been much better. I didn't like it.
That's what I thought at first too. Okay? And then they could be saying something to the fans there that he's coming back as Aquaman. Yeah,
I know. We don't didn't have to do it in that way. I just thought it was really dumb.
I thought it was fun that we got to see almost every member of the Justice League show up in this movie. Okay? Okay? We get Ben Affleck. He's in it. Did you notice that his suit is blue and gray? He's doing the Adam West Batman style. He's doing classic Batman blue and gray.
I don't know.
So I noticed that. So we get Batman in this. Okay. Yeah, of course we're spoiling this now. Wonder Woman makes a brief appearance. She shows up as helping superheroes. I like that, okay? Because if she was available and she showed up, even if it's late, good, nice inclusion. We do see Superman in the Speed Force. It's just a terrible CGI Uncanny Valley thing. That's also a lot of people complain about this movie, but we'll get to that. We see Jason Momoa at the end there, so he makes an appearance, and of course Flash because it's his movie. But also we do see Cyborg very briefly in the Speed Force. You don't see his
Talks
face.
About Cyborg, that he's not available in this.
You don't see his face in it, but you do see an outline, and it's clearly Cyborg in the Speed Force. I noticed that on my second viewing.
Cyborg.
You ain't seeing Ray Fisher in any more Warner Brothers movies. He ain't coming back as Cyborg after all the drama that happened.
I don't know. They didn't. The character was lame in that Justice League movie. They didn't do him a good service there.
Yeah, he got pretty shortchanged there.
It was dumb.
But then he came out and said some things about Warner Brothers and talked out the studio and had complaints.
It's a waste of his character. They didn't do anything good with him at all.
If you want to see the better version with him, you watch Zack Snyder's Justice League, because that's his movie then.
Oh.
He's the main character of that movie.
I like him in Teen Titans. I like that.
Maybe one day we'll watch that, but
no, I don't think I have that.
Since it's not canonical, we didn't do it as part of our Into the DCEU. No. So
anyway,
I like Batman's new suit there.
I don't care about the suit.
We get Michael Keaton back. He's great.
I think they spent a lot of time in the movie in his basement, essentially.
In the Batcave.
There was a lot of time spent there, and there was also, I didn't care for how much time it was with these worlds colliding. I thought they could have cut out half of that.
Yeah, I didn't think they really needed that, and there was all these appearances.
I know, it's just
we get so many Superman. We get Henry Cavill's Man of Steel. We get Nicolas Cage. Most people don't know that Nicolas Cage was in a Superman movie that was canceled in the 90s. He was gonna play Superman, but most people don't know that. Yeah. So that's just too inside baseball. You don't need that. You got the Christopher Reeve Superman appearing.
Didn't need all that stuff.
I can't remember her name, but the Supergirl.
There was just too much of the nice. Worlds slowly going towards each other. It just could have been edited.
We didn't need 1950s Superman. I mean, I guess it's a nice touch.
In there, running with his weird.
John Wesley Shipp.
Yeah.
He was in the Flash series.
Yeah, but I mean, maybe they could have put that in, but they didn't need to show so much of these worlds. There was just, I think, some editing could have been done, but it was still all right. It made sense. I definitely put it up there with the good movies that DC has made.
I think there was too many cameos to the detriment of the film. Okay, some of them were fake. Some of them were actually people showed up. I mean, how many Batman did we get in this? Michael Keaton, Ben Affleck. We got George Clooney.
It still made sense.
We saw Adam West Batman.
Cute. I like the George Clooney ending. Okay. Now, the one thing about Ezra Miller, I don't know. It's nothing to do with all this stuff about him, but I don't really get him as the Flash.
You don't like him playing the Flash?
No.
You prefer Grant Gustin?
Oh, yeah.
That's fair.
Over.
A lot of people prefer Grant Gustin.
He's just a bit weird. I don't really get what he's like. His character was a bit confusing the way he portrayed it. So I don't know why they put all their eggs in his basket. I don't know why they picked him. I really don't. But that's nothing to do with what he's been up to after he made the movie. But I think he's a bit weird. I didn't care for him. I think he should be much of a sweeter character.
More like Grant Gustin.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, that's fair. And that's a problem with having two different Flashes, one in TV and one in the movies at the same time. And that has to do with how Warner Brothers was so disorganized before, and now they're trying to fix that.
And we didn't get Dean Cain as Superman in this.
No, I know we didn't get Dean Cain. We also didn't get that new Superman from the CW either. We didn't get Smallville Superman. We didn't get We didn't get Brandon Routh.
No, they could have put all of them in there.
He would have done it too, because we just saw Brandon Routh was in that Legends of Tomorrow CW stuff.
Yeah.
And then in one of their big crossovers, he showed up as Superman.
Right.
From another dimension.
It's just weird, that whole thing about I think they should have put them all in, and that would have been fun. Put them all in. I don't know. It was just a bit weird.
I think some would have been good, but they used too many.
It was taking too long with these worlds banging into each other and stuff.
Yeah, I didn't like that choice. A lot of people are complaining about the visual effects, the CGI. It starts right at the beginning with the babies.
The way they represented
and the hospital.
That's how they chose to represent it, as a circle, as almost like the Colosseum or something. That's how they chose to represent time and the time branches. They went as if you were in the Colosseum, like in Greece or something. That's kind of how they displayed it.
Yeah, I like that.
I wasn't the greatest fan of
The
that
visual
representation.
effects looked incomplete, and that's what a lot of people are complaining about. However, the director has said that's on purpose. A lot of people are saying they should have leaned into that more. They should have made it look more unrealistic so that it doesn't look like unfinished visual effects.
Yeah.
And so a lot of people, not everyone can see it, but there's this term that I'm always talking about and no one knows what I'm talking about. It's called the uncanny valley. I'm going to read out the definition here according to Very Well Mind. Get this. The uncanny valley is a term used to describe the relationship between the human-like appearance of a robotic object and the emotional response it evokes. In this phenomenon, people feel a sense of unease or even revulsion in response to humanoid robots that are highly realistic. What that means is that when you're looking at, sometimes you'll see a human face, and if it's visual effects, if it doesn't look perfect, your brain will notice that it looks off, and for some people, it's very unpleasant to look at.
Tarkin in Star Wars, I didn't.
Rogue One.
Yeah, I didn't like Tarkin.
Yeah, so I see it, and I don't enjoy it, but it doesn't really take me out of the movie. I think they probably ran out of time, ran out of money, because they spent way too much money making this film, and they just had to release what they have.
They did it as a circle, and it was all these things that in the circle are recent things that we've already seen, instead of all the different infinites that you would have.
I had such a fun time watching this movie, and I enjoyed it more on my second viewing when I took you to go see it.
I still liked it.
So there's lots of stuff. Okay, so the portrayal of both Barry Allens, the younger and the older one, is great. Michael Keaton's great in it. Sasha Cale as Supergirl. I want to see more of that.
She didn't really have much of a personality in this.
No, she didn't. But what this movie gave me is, okay, this is an introduction to her Supergirl. Now I want to see more of it. So that's a good teaser for the audience.
DC, we probably won't see more, because that's
are we going to see her back?
We don't know. End things and not continue them.
Well, we don't know exactly what they're doing with their reboot. They're recasting some characters and not others. Some people are coming back in the same roles. So Jason Momoa could be coming back as Aquaman still if he wants to.
I just think that final scene was just strange.
Or he could be coming back as his fan favorite casting as Lobo.
Listen, when they had him in the puddle, I thought maybe he was gonna talk to a fish or something in there. I didn't know why the heck he was in a puddle. I really thought they was gonna find some kind of ocean treasure or something in a puddle. It just didn't make sense why he was in a puddle. I don't know. It was just, I don't think DC understands what an end scene is, because they really messed up on some, or they've had some good ones and they've gone nowhere, right? Like the cat. I want
to focus more on the good, because I had a really fun time with this, and I encourage people to go see this in the movies or on streaming whenever you can. It's flopping, It's just, all the recent DC movies have flopped. Oh yeah, it's not doing really good.
I thought it was much better than most of them.
Yeah, but audiences aren't going to see them. People have checked out because these DC movies have been struggling for years, so it's just more of the same thing, so you have to reboot it.
Well,
they should have done that years ago.
I watched the show. I know what it was about. I don't need to see a movie about it.
Yeah, and it's the same Flash story we always get. It's a version of Flashpoint, which we've seen before several times. We've seen it on the show. We've seen it in animation. We've seen it in comics, obviously, and now we get it in this movie. There's other Flash stories. It was
fun, and it made a lot of sense. I was afraid it was going to be confusing.
Michael Shannon.
It wasn't confusing.
And, what's her name? The characters, so General Zod and Feora all are back.
Yeah.
And
they're there. They just kind of gave me, nightmares of that other movie that I didn't like.
Michael Shannon's been in the press, and he wasn't really into making this movie, so he's there. He's getting paid. He's there by contract. It's nice to see him, but I don't think he enjoyed being there.
I don't know. Listen, it made sense. It was fun. It was much better than that Superman movie that they were in before. I thought it was way superior.
I don't like that they got rid of Billy Crudup and put in Ron Livingston. I mean, what happened to Billy Crudup? He was in Justice League as Henry Allen.
Maybe he got COVID. This was made during COVID times. Who knows? I have no idea. I didn't really care. That didn't matter to me. That didn't matter to me. Anyway, it was still a good...
What rating would you give this?
I'd probably give it a 90.
You'd give it a 90?
89, 90, yeah. There were some things I didn't like, but I overall liked it, and the story made sense. and I got what it was about, and it was fun.
Yeah. So you give it a 90. I give it a best movie ever. Definitely check out The Flash. It's a good time. You know, even if it's not really your thing, this is one of the good superhero movies,
Yes.
so I'd watch it. I'm going to get my physical media copy as soon as it comes out. I have... What do I want to check out here? How's it... Did I already go through the what The Flash is doing on Rotten Tomatoes right now?
You did a while ago when you talked about it earlier, but check it out now.
Yeah, probably on the last
ago.
episode. Let's see what's at there.
People have, it's been out for a little while now.
We didn't get to, it's at 66% fresh critic rating and 84% audience score. So the audiences that are seeing it are enjoying it. It's just no one's going out to see it. Which, people have checked out on these DC movies. They've been struggling for years, so.
People, if that's just saw the television show, you wouldn't have any idea of what it is.
I definitely really enjoyed this. So is this, for you... Is this better or worse than James Gunn's The Suicide Squad?
Worse.
It's not as good as The Suicide Squad.
Shazam 2, Suicide Squad, and this one. And then Black Adam's in the middle, and then everything else is...
Okay. We're going to do a final list once we get through all of them. It's going to be a little bit of a pause, but we will include in the DCEU Blue Beetle when it comes out in August, and Aquaman The Lost Kingdom when that comes out in December of this year.
I'm not looking forward to that one.
Well, they're just releasing the last of these DCEU movies, because then they're rebooting it, and then it's going to be a couple years, and then they're going to start fresh with a new Superman movie. So we're getting Superman Legacy, they announced.
Okay.
So that was another chapter of Into the DCEU. Take care, everyone.
Bye.
Now we're going into our part 3, Tarantino Unchained. We saw Jackie Brown from 1997, which means I watched 2 really long movies yesterday. Oppenheimer and then this one.
Yeah, it was long. It was late by the time I got to bed.
So, you've never seen this before. This was only my second viewing. I saw it once when it first came out on home video, and I think we rented it from Blockbuster, and I was not impressed. Now, probably a lot had to do with my age, because the age I was when this came out, I was a teenager. When I saw this, I'm like, no, this is not... I didn't even understand a bunch of things that were happening. And it was too boring for me, and that was my impression. However, this was a better viewing. However, you go ahead and tell us your views on
I hadn't
Jackie
seen it
Brown.
Before. I didn't know who Jackie Brown was. Now I do.
Pam Grier.
Yeah. Anyway, she's fabulous in it. The acting is really good in it. It is a good movie. I think though,
we can spoil this, right?
Compared to the other offerings, it's not as... I don't really know why. It's just missing a bit of a spark, though. Yeah, it's still really interesting.
There's quite a few dull spots in it.
It's missing something.
It is very interesting.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of good dialogue in it.
Still excellent.
This is one of the rare movies that we see Sam Jackson playing a straight-up villain.
He's really good in it.
Now, I'm going to tell you right now.
Everybody's really good in it.
This movie's over. It's 2 hours, 35 minutes. It currently has a 87% certified fresh on Rotten Tomatoes. I don't think it's going to change much. And an 85% audience score. So generally people enjoy it.
And like his other movies, we're dealing with the criminal world here. And we have some cops in it. They're kind of dumb. They're not the brightest bulbs, the cops.
Sam Jackson as Ordell. He's really good in this. He's got some weird hair in this. This was around the time that every time you saw Sam Jackson, he'd be in a different movie with different hair.
Oh, his hair is hilarious, especially when it's down and one of the... It's just weird. Oh my gosh.
Yeah, there's some crazy hair in this, and his
chin
most
braid?
of the time he has in the back as a ponytail, which is still weird. But then he's got a chin braid. And that is really distracting.
Oh my god, like some... I don't know.
Every time he talks,
sitting under a cherry tree. It's
got to be about 10 centimeters long. And every time he talks, it's just...
I guess they glued that on him every time. It's weird. I think everyone's awesome in it, and De Niro's awesome.
Let's go
in
through
it.
each.
It's still really good.
What did you think of Pam Grier, who played Jackie Brown?
She's fantastic.
She's real.
Cool stuff.
She's hardcore in this.
She's cool stuff.
We get the vacuum guy, Robert Forster, plays Max Cherry.
He plays the straight guy who falls in love. He's just a straight man, and he falls in love.
He's the bail bond officer.
Yeah, and he
bounty hunter.
World changes, but in the end, he goes back to it. I don't know, but maybe he doesn't.
Hold on, we'll get to the ending, okay? Bridget Fonda, her character was kind of not very important. She's kind of just there for eye candy and to be dumb.
Because I know some girls that were like that, and we don't see them portrayed on film, and that's basically what they're like. So I thought that was good because we've never seen really that kind of character. She's just a really
dumb stoner. That's what she is.
Well, I don't know if she's that dumb. She's a stoner and she has no ambition other to do some surfing.
Michael Keaton
she's a goof off.
And Michael Bowen both play dumb jerk cops.
Especially Michael Keaton. He's all he's got a lot of energy and he's bopping a lot.
They're not very smart. And the first time we see him when they're interrogating Jackie Brown, Michael Bowen, who plays Mark, is playing the bad cop, and Michael Keaton, who's Ray, is clearly the good cop. They're doing this. They don't even say it, but you can tell that they're doing the good cop, bad cop routine. Robert De Niro, I forgot he was in this. I thought it was Harvey Keitel, but he's in it. He's just kind of like a dumb. He's a really dumb criminal who just gets out of jail.
He's really good at his acting. Really good
man. But it surprised me that time when, obviously we're in spoilers, but there's a time when he just, Bridget Fonda is bothering the crap out of him. He just pulls out a gun and shoots her twice. He's like, shut up.
Well,
okay, he's not very smart.
Puts a twist in things.
We see a young Chris Tucker shows up in this, like really
He's not in it for very long, we'll put it that way.
Yeah, and he does some really dumb stuff, so... He doesn't last very long.
Everybody else is just kind of an extra character, but I listen. It's fun, but I think.
Oh, we see Tasha Yar in it briefly.
Yeah, she's in it.
From Star Trek. What's her name? Denise Crosby.
Yeah.
She's in it for maybe a minute.
I think he should have went that extra bit to make it more of a comedy. That would have
put in more jokes.
Yeah, that would have given it more because it's good. But it's not like the other two films he's already had. There's something a bit missing in it.
You didn't laugh at all during
I didn't like the time sequence. I didn't like that, the way he had the times written on it. I didn't like that part.
Oh, for the end, for near the end there when they're doing their plan.
I think
you see it from different angles.
Right, and we've seen him
Ocean's 11 style.
These time things in the other two movies, but I didn't think it was done maybe as well in this one. It wasn't as witty. I think he should have made it just some more. You could have made it really funny, especially with those dumb cops.
I laughed during a few moments in it, but there was also you didn't laugh at all when Robert De Niro and Bridget Fonda were fighting, and then eventually he shot her. I was laughing the whole time.
I didn't find that funny at all.
When Sam Jackson was giving him when they were arguing afterwards. It got pretty tense, and then he just shoots them. I'm like, I saw that coming a mile away, and I just laughed. I saw it coming
because he kills everyone, but I didn't think it was funny. I didn't think there was enough humor in it, and I think maybe that could have made it.
It was more gallows humor.
Yeah, I didn't.
And
I still thought it was good, but it was missing.
Sam Jackson is a complete womanizing, sexist dick, and
I don't even know he's a womanizer. He's like he keeps women like bugs in a jar almost. It's not even like a womanizer.
He just drops in on them.
He just has them in like houses, and they're all different.
No, he's a bum.
But he's like a collector of women almost. It's creepy. He's a really horrible.
He just
person.
freeloads off all of them, and he's talking crap to Bridget Fonda the whole time, and he's like, "Don't make me put my foot in your ass, woman."
Yeah, but
just being really sexist and a real dick.
He collects them like they're things, like they're possessions. He owns them almost because he provides those houses.
Well, he's a criminal.
He's really bad. He's a really bad guy. There's really nothing good about him.
He sells guns
and maybe
illegally.
That also maybe let the movie down a bit because there's not really anything good about him. We want to see him get his, you know?
Well, he does get his comeuppance.
Yeah, he does, but I don't know. It's just lacking in something. But I still think it was well done and well put together. But compared to the other two films, it could have been like Pulp Fiction.
This is your worst one so far.
Yeah, it's not as good.
This is the worst one for me as well. The
well
ending,
done.
at the whole time of watching the ending with Pam Grier and Robert Forster, I'm sitting there, why is this guy not going with her?
Well, I think she turns around. That's the whole thing in the end. Because the way that she's driving, I think that's the whole idea of it. She does turn around.
Why does he want to stay in this job that he hates doing?
He doesn't want to. He said he was quitting. And then he goes back to it because she's not really sure. But then the way she's driving, I think that's the whole point of that scene at the end is that she decides she's going to turn around.
And stay with him.
Or take him with her or whatever.
Oh no, he should have just been like, yeah, I'm going to give all this up. What, we're going to go away? Hell, let's go.
Yeah, it would have been more satisfying.
That seemed to be more of what the character was about. Because as soon as he sees her, he's in love and they start playing music.
But, you know,
and then that same day he's thinking, I'm going to give this up. You know, I had to, after he dropped her off, he had to go track down some loser, you know, junkie, and then arrest him. Okay, he had to shock him and then arrest him and then haul him into to lock up.
Right.
He's like, I don't want to do this job. This sucks.
What I like about this movie a lot is the reality. It's like a CBC show. CBC shows are really good. CBC about doing like reality. Like you have to tell the guy what key to use and things that would really happen in life. The characters aren't that smooth, although Jackie's pretty smooth. But it just shows more of real life, which we don't get.
Yeah.
In
so
movies
this gets
shows.
It's the dialogue. It's
and
what
the
people
set.
like.
And the set, and just the way like they screw up something and they have to do it again, just like real life would be, which is what's missing in a lot of film, and it drives me a bit nuts. The
realism.
Yes.
Realism in the dialogue. Now, when we say the dialogue, yeah, I agree. The dialogue is really good. However, there's a lot of, you know, swearing. There's a lot of racial slurs.
There's a lot of
There's a lot of sexism.
But at least...
And, you know, whether we like it or not, that's how a lot of people talk.
At least this time, it's only Sam Jackson saying the N-word. Nobody else says it. So at least there's that. But
because this is set in 95.
That's when the N-word was like, everyone seemed to be saying it. It seemed like.
Well, this was set when this movie was released. This was set in the modern time.
Yeah.
And it was set in 95. It came out in 97. And yeah, there's definitely people that talk that way at that time, and there still are. Okay.
Yeah.
I don't talk that way.
No.
But also, all these people are all criminals, and they're except for the cops, right? But the rest of them are all criminals and degenerates. You know, you got the dumb pot smoking loser who just freeloads off him.
Is not a criminal.
Sam Jackson is but he works an honest job and he hates it, and it sucks, right? So he may be middle class, but
old now.
He said he's been doing it for 19 years.
He's 56.
He was doing something before that. That sounds like a terrible job. I wouldn't want to do that.
It sounds like it pays the bills, but still, you gotta eat and live in LA. Anyway, it's still really well done.
This is my least favorite of the Tarantino movies so far. Yeah. I got Pulp Fiction is number 1, then Reservoir Dogs, then Jackie Brown. And I think you're the same as me.
Yeah. But I still give it kudos. But I think it could have been really good. Just a little bit of tweaking.
Surprise.
Really
Before we watched this, I watched the trailer. And I remembered seeing that trailer. I'm like, yeah.
Oh, really?
And it's the trailer with the voice, you know. What do a convict, an ex-con, a stoner blonde, and this flight attendant all have in common? And it's that guy with that deep voice, because he used to do all the trailers until he died. I don't know his name.
I never saw this thing because I was too busy studying at this time.
By watching that trailer, it reminded me, I did see that trailer, and we did rent it, and I watched it, and I didn't enjoy it at the time. I definitely enjoyed it more on this viewing. What kind of rating would you give this movie?
I still give it like a 91 or something. It's still good.
You're so generous with your percentages.
I still enjoyed it. I was watching it the whole time. I want to know what happened. I like the realism. I like the acting. I like the characters. But it was missing that spark. That could have given it a 97 or a 95.
You know, I didn't appreciate this before, and if you had asked me before I'd rewatched this, I would have given it a worst movie ever. But I'll give this movie this rating a best movie ever for this movie. Not that it's as good as the other two, but I had a fun time, and watching it, it's definitely something more for adults, and you gotta know a lot about...
There's a lot of murder in it.
It's just, when I first watched it, I didn't know that much about this stuff, and didn't have as much life experience. So, I would say the more life experience you have, the more you might enjoy this movie.
I guess so. Yeah, it's fun though, and it's all about the criminal element again. This is 3 movies about the criminal element. So far.
And then his next movie gets a bit fantastical.
Yes.
Okay, because we're going into Kill Bill Volume 1.
Right. It's a different
we're not gonna do Kill Bill Volume 1 and Volume 2 for the next segment. We're gonna do it. It's gonna be separated out, the segments.
Oh, okay,
we're gonna watch them one per week. Even though Tarantino considers it to be one movie, I don't, and I'm not watching both of them right away because his movies are all over 2 hours easily. If not, some of them got to be around 3 hours. Well, that was our review for. We watched Jackie Brown.
Okay. I'm getting tired. It's too hot.
Yeah.
We're in a heat wave here.
Yeah, it is. Thank you for watching our video. We appreciate it. Fluffy Kitty appreciates it.
She's too hot too.
So thank you for watching. Thanks to anyone who gives us a thumbs up. And the Fonz appreciates it as well. You can always subscribe for more content. And that was another segment of Tarantino Unchained.
Tarantino's 10.
Now it's time for another Chakotay's Odyssey featuring the adventures of Janeway.
Okay.
So what do we got? Season 2, episode 17 is called Dreadnought. We actually had 3 pretty good episodes of this show. This one ain't exactly the greatest.
Oh.
It's another B'Elanna episode.
Okay, at least it's B'Elanna, not Neelix.
Remember we had that prototype episode with her 4 episodes ago, and it was not good?
AI.
Yeah, the AI entities, the robots there. So this one is about her facing off against something called Dreadnought. So it's Voyager discovers some debris, and...
They take it on the ship right away, right?
No, they analyze it, and then they beam a piece onto the ship for the science. It starts off, and you know who we see again? We see Ensign Samantha, what's her name? Anyway, the pregnant crew member.
Okay, I don't remember her.
So we see her in this episode. I can't remember her name at all. Anyway, so she's getting a checkup because she's like 9 months pregnant now, I guess. And she's stuck on Voyager. So that means we get to see the Doctor, who's being as snarky as ever to everyone, including Nikes, who's also there because she has to be there because she has to make an appearance. And she's still looking really thin. Okay, so we see them and Ensign Samantha, whatever her name is. I just called her Ensign Joanne, and she goes back to work because Janeway comes on the makes an announcement. All science officers to their stations. Weird. I've never heard that in a Star Trek show.
I don't even think they had science officers because they don't seem to know their science very good.
So they need the science officers to get to their stations because they've got this debris and they're going to beam a piece over to analyze it. And so as soon as B'Elanna gets in there, she's like, I know exactly what this is from. This is from something we call Dreadnought. And what it is, it's a Cardassian missile. So the Cardassians designed this missile to go, and it's like a small ship, but it's a missile.
But how did it get in the Delta Quadrant?
Exactly. Well, it got into the Delta Quadrant same way they did, from the Caretaker, because it was in the Badlands. Because the Cardassians sent it after the Maquis, but it didn't go off.
Okay.
Because they made this missile.
They all got swept up by the Caretaker.
So they made this missile that's essentially its own ship and has its own defenses and its own AI on it. Yeah. And they sent it after the Maquis, but it didn't go off. So the Maquis captured it, and B'Elanna apparently spent weeks and weeks reprogramming it to go back after the Cardassians. Right. Instead, it got swept up by the Caretaker and sent to the Delta Quadrant. So it's just been flying towards the Alpha Quadrant ever since. So Voyager caught up with it. All right?
And they didn't identify it right away?
No, they caught up with it and they identified it. Because first they just found debris from other stuff.
Okay.
Anyway, so what do? Okay, we'll just beam on board.
They always beam everything on board.
No. She beams on board the missile.
Oh, great. That sounds smart.
Because essentially it's a ship, and there's a small room, okay? And so she can access the control panels and that.
Oh, it's like a big drone.
And she has this conversation with it. Meanwhile, Janeway, okay?
Sounds boring.
And it's not the greatest. It's more exciting than that last B'Elanna episode with those weird prototype guys. They're calling the it's heading towards this alien planet. So they contact them and be like, hey, this missile's coming to destroy you, but we're gonna stop it. And the aliens are giving them a hard time. They're like, we know all about Voyager. We don't believe you, because the Kazon are talking trash about them everywhere they go.
They can talk trash about them because they haven't been very nice to the Kazon.
Yeah. So the Kazon are just spreading all these rumors, and this keeps coming up this season.
Right.
Okay. So Voyager's not very well liked in the
No,
Delta Quadrant.
I mean, why would they think that guy who actually was
the Maj Kula?
Yeah, genocide against them. Why would they all of a sudden he would change his colors and want peace? I mean, they're pretty naive.
You know what this makes me think? If the Federation ever got to the Delta Quadrant, man, Voyager left some. They didn't leave a good impression on everyone. Everyone's gonna hate the Federation if they ever get out there.
Yeah.
So get this. So she beams. So Janeway and Chakotay are dealing with these guys. Okay, but they don't believe them and they're giving them a hard time. But they're like, okay, fine, we're still gonna go after it. So they're going after the missile, and B'Elanna's on board, and she's having all these conversations with it, which is in her own voice.
Oh God.
Because she said it had a Cardassian voice and she hated it.
Right.
So she's like, so she reprogrammed it with her voice. So she's having conversations with her own voice.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, it's weird. Anyway, so she beams on.
She would have used Tuvok's voice.
Does a few things.
Okay.
And then beams back. Problem solved, right?
Right.
And it's okay. Anyway, and it stops. And then they're talking to the aliens. They're like, hey, we took care of it. No problem, right?
Okay.
Then it reactivates and goes after that planet again. It's heading towards that planet again. So Voyager has to go after it. And so they update the alien people. They're shooting at it.
They should just shoot at it, yeah.
Yeah, they shot the phasers at it. They even wasted a bunch of torpedoes on it. Nothing.
All she had to do was take down their force fields, get out, and shoot.
Yeah. So
again, no sciencey people.
She's trying to get back onto it, but it's blocking her.
Yeah.
Because this thing's smart, and it's saying she's been taken over by the Cardassians, or her loyalties changed, so it's on her, and she has to go. It's essentially her versus this machine the whole episode.
Okay.
And then these aliens, they send out fighters and ships to stop it, but their technology is really much lower advanced, right?
Right.
So they just get slaughtered. Yeah. Meanwhile, Voyager is following it the whole time. Voyager is essentially tailgating this missile through the Delta Quadrant.
Into some old moon or something.
But as it gets closer, and B'Elanna, she couldn't get on because it's blocking their teleporters, but eventually her and Harry Kim, the genius, figure out so she can get back on there. And then she's fighting with this thing, and it's turning off life support and everything, and okay. So eventually, here's what they decide. It's going to crash in there. B'Elanna's still stuck on there. You know, they can't beam her out.
Right.
Or if they can. So Janeway says, okay, I'm gonna sacrifice the ship. Okay? So she tells Chakotay, lead the evacuation, get everyone off the ship.
Well, that
seems
drastic.
Yeah.
Anyway.
She's gonna put herself in the path of it.
Did she not let it shoot a shuttle, for God's sakes?
They don't got shuttles to waste, so she's gonna blow up the whole ship.
Yeah, blow the whole thing up.
She initiates the self-destruct.
She's not good at her job.
She initiates the self-destruct. You got 20 minutes. Everyone get off the ship.
It's gonna destruct it. Why did you have to issue the self-destruct?
No, because they have to do a warp core breach to have enough energy to destroy the thing, apparently. Get through these shields that are so impossibly good, because apparently the Cardassians have these amazing shield technology. Who stays with her? In the end, it's just her and one other person. Who wants to stay there? Tuvok. He has to sacrifice himself, and he stays with her because it's logical to have a second person there in case she doesn't, in case something happens and she's not able to carry out the plan. Anyway, end of the day, no, B'Elanna saves the day. They turn off the self-destruct. you know, better turn that off before
Yeah.
before it blows up, and hopefully the switch isn't out of order, which happens in Spaceballs.
This is why we need AI rules, and they're going over that now.
Anyway, so they save these alien people.
They were kind of dicks.
Yeah, they were. Although they do start working with her, so they stop the dreadnought, as they call it,
Right.
and get the crew back, and then they make friends with these aliens.
Yay!
And they stop it. At first, when they first stopped it, before it started going again, they were so excited. They're like, oh, we're going to scrap it for parts, and we're going to have all these parts and everything we can use. So I don't know if they did scrap it in the end and got all those parts, or maybe they made a friend. They got some good supplies from these aliens. Who knows? They don't really address that, because then suddenly episode's over.
Right.
And I'm like, well, that wasn't really good. So season 2, episode 17, called Dreadnought. Yeah, I'd skip that one.
Okay.
Oh well. But we're getting near the end of season 2, because we got, I think it's 26 episodes per season.
Lots. Back in the day, we used to get
so many.
Some of them were good, but some of them were.
But I'm getting through it. So thank you to anyone who's been watching our Chakotay's Odyssey videos, and anyone who gives us a thumbs up and subscribes so that you can see these when they get posted right away. And that was another exciting episode of Chakotay's Odyssey, featuring the adventures of Janeway. Okay, we're just going to quickly sign off here. We got a comment from a nice viewer, but in case you want to get in touch with us, you can always leave a comment down below. If you prefer email, you can email us, CanadaMovieTVHosers@gmail.com. And you can always get in touch with us on Twitter or Instagram @CanadaHosers. And you can also use the hashtag CanadaHosers if you want to send us a message there. Our social media contact information is down in the description below. So, message that we got from a viewer on our Christine reviewed The Horror of Dolores Roach on Prime, and B replied to it saying, I loved it. So glad you enjoyed it there, B. Christine didn't really enjoy it that much, and I haven't seen it. She's not really a horror person, but yeah, people are enjoying it. Thanks for the message, B. And anyone else check out The Horror of Dolores Roach on Prime? Let us know down in the comments below. You can also leave us a comment on any of the things that we talked about this episode. Thanks to everyone who watched it and gives us a thumbs up, a like. And thank you for subscribing, because we have more content here every week. Take care.